What's going on? Just about 6 o'clock. Good morning. From the 104.5 The Zone Studios, I'm Robert Walsh. Despite looking rough on paper, the NFL slate delivered in Week 9. Texans won a barn burner against the Bucs, 39-37. C.J. Stroud setting a new rookie record for passing yards in a game with 470. Also throwing 5 touchdowns, including the final go-ahead touchdown to Tank Dell with just seconds on the clock to win it. Texans are now 4-4 and play the 5-3 Bengals next week. Got to give a massive hat tip to Josh Dobbs. He was just traded to Minnesota, didn't practice with any offensive players, but still led the Vikings to a victory when Jaron Hall was knocked out of the game 31-28. Dobbs finished with 2 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing. The Vikings are now 5-4 and in the final playoff spot in the NFC. And on Sunday Night Football, the Bengals mauled the Bills 24-18. Burrow threw for 348 passing yards with 2 touchdowns. The Bills' offense struggled to keep up with the Bengals' high-powered offense, but Josh Allen accounted for both touchdowns but could not get the go-ahead opportunity after the Stephon Diggs octopus, scoring the touchdown and the 2-point conversion. Bengals are now 5-3 with every team in the AFC North currently in the playoffs. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Off and running, starting a brand new week on 104.5 The Zone. Welcome into RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast, recapping a very fun football weekend with you, looking ahead to a pivotal week where perhaps Will Levis could be battling with Ryan Tannehill for the QB1 job here in Nashville, plus college basketball, soccer playoffs, and Tennessee getting into it a little bit with the University of Connecticut for some reason. That's Ramon Foster. We've got Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh behind the glass, our producer. My name is Will Bowling. It is Monday, November the 6th, and odds are if you were at a sporting event in the South over the weekend, Ramon Foster was there as well.
Right. You were.
A little bit
Out and
everywhere.
about, man.
Man, and felt it yesterday. I caught a little attitude yesterday, too, for no other reason other than just being tired. Yeah.
You guys like 3 into 1 week.
That's what I'm
3
saying.
weeks into one.
It was that type of week, man. Golly, I don't see how Kirk Herbstreit do it.
I don't either. Especially add to that the flying. Part of that.
Just got to get you a private jet. That'd be great.
Well, see, it's that portion of that will make it okay. Okay, all right.
That's
You
right.
throw in a private jet.
Exactly how he does it.
You throw in a PJ. That's all you absolutely need, man. But it was a real rewind weekend for me. That's what I'm kind of calling it. Short week we all had to deal with. The Titans going to Pittsburgh. Had that event all go down. Get back here Friday. What did we do on Friday? I don't think I did a lot on Friday other than doing a recap of the show. But early Saturday morning, headed to Knoxville. Legend of the Fall legend. I was Saturday. Man, I got a big cutout.
I saw the cutout.
A figurine. I've never imagined offensive linemen get a figurine before. That was real cool. Being on the field and having that sun beat down on you. I will say, though, being on the field, every touchdown in the first half came to where we were. So I was
that's
excited.
nice.
Yeah, I was standing over there with Savage, man. It was real good vibes. Ran into pretty much everybody this weekend. A who's who of course, UT. And then came back here, finished up on the back porch watching some games. And Sunday, Ron texted me like, hey, got tickets to this exhibition game. The Vols are in. I'm like, man, go ahead. I'm tired. You got it, all right? He was like, no, it's here in Nashville. I was like, it's in Nashville. I had no idea there was an exhibition game going on here in Nashville. When did you find out?
Thursday, when my sister was singing the national anthem.
Yeah.
Did a good job.
Blew
Yeah.
the roof off of it. Literally.
So that was at First Horizon?
First
It was.
Horizon. It was numerous people that I ran into at play ball for the Vols. It was like, yeah, I found out today. I had somebody text me about the game. I was like, wait
17 innings scrimmage.
It was
Dang.
17 innings?
Oh, yeah, they played all day.
Oh, my. I
I
didn't
think Tennessee
realize
won
that.
15-12 or something like that. Like every pitcher pitched one inning.
Wow.
It was fun. It was really good crowd.
Wow, I left in
That's
7.
what he said.
Things usually go well for Tennessee baseball when they play in Nashville.
Yeah.
It did again this time, too.
It was good. It was real good, man. It was exciting, fun watching the guys. And then, of course, I was just telling Caleb before we started the show, I guess all these kids grow up playing fall ball, so it's okay to do fall ball here. Get your beak wet a little bit. But, yeah, it was a blitz of a week for me, for sure.
I caught up on sleep finally.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, if I have one weekend to try to do it, I'll try to do it. And I do feel better, a little more refreshed, I should say. So
It's
felt
like
good.
I feel like everybody was somewhere this weekend too.
we
as
had the
far as
fallback, too.
the fallback happened. Yeah, God,
I felt like I was looking at my clock, and I still felt like I was late this morning. Not a fan.
not a fan.
Not a fan at all.
Our clock.
I'm just taking it as it is right now. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I should be in uproar about the fallback.
They
I
told
don't
us
know.
they were changing it.
I don't know how to change my oven clock.
Oh, that's the worst clock to change.
I have no idea. I never use my oven, but I have no idea how to change it. So maybe since I never use it, it won't really matter.
Yeah,
But I could probably count on one hand the amount of times I've used my oven in the last
Yeah.
like 6 months.
just wait 6 months and then it'll be the correct time again.
I know. It's usually the way it works. with
There
my
you
oven.
go.
I don't know.
Until you find yourself rushing out of your house because you're late for something because you looked at the wrong.
I mean, the
clock.
microwave works. I can cook in the F&M Bank chat. You can join the conversation there. YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch. I use the Instant Pot and I use the air fryer
Right.
and just the stove more so than I use the oven. There's just not any dishes I make that require an oven.
Ovens are messy, guys. I do use my oven, probably overuse it because I don't have a toaster. So I toast everything like in the oven.
Yeah.
And one time I forgot the bread in there.
Oh.
And the bread it was blackened bread instead of blackened like fish or something.
Cajun, little
Yeah.
Cajun bread is what you have.
A little Cajun sourdough.
Oh me, oh my. But yeah, they had a crazy week this weekend, y'all. Fun though. We're back. We're back on schedule. The Titans don't have another Thursday night game, from my understanding, so we're good to go
For now.
for now.
For
You're
this
right about
But-
that.
time being.
That shouldn't change. 615-737-1045, our number this morning. Coming up this morning, we will get into the Ryan Tannehill, Will Levis conversation that was brought up in a different way on Friday when Mike Vrabel spoke to the media after we were done going into the weekend. One of the more interesting Mike Vrabel press conferences we've had in quite a while, in my opinion. We'll play some of the audio with that. Get into the discussion he had about potentially going back to Ryan Tannehill, or at least saying that he was not willing to name Will Levis the starting quarterback of the team. We'll have that conversation coming up in hour number 2. John Glennon of the Nashville Post will also join in on that discussion and talk Titans with us at 8:20 this morning. Day one of college basketball means we talk with Belmont's Casey Alexander at 9 o'clock. Belmont and Georgia State tonight. Rematch of a game that was a very good one a year ago down there in Atlanta. One-score game between the Panthers and the Bruins. So we'll get into that at 9 o'clock. And then the week of Geodis Park's first playoff game.
Wow.
Jalil Anibaba will drop by at 9:20, get his thoughts on Nashville and Orlando, give you a crash course on what you need to know if you are headed to your first Nashville SC game tomorrow night. And you can be headed to your first Nashville SC game tomorrow night if you're listening to us at 7 and at 9 this morning. That is where we will give away some tickets. 2 pair, 7 and at 9. So stay tuned for that as well. And maybe you can see Ramon Foster try to get himself down there to do the first kick again.
Eventually, it will happen. I'm telling you. Eventually, the first kick will happen for you. Maybe I need to talk to Jalil about it. You know,
He is the brand ambassador for Nashville SC.
That's all I'm
There you
saying.
go.
Eventually, it's gonna kick up. It's gonna kick off. Okay, and I will be the pioneer of it all. That's all I'm saying.
You'll start a whole new fad in soccer,
Look,
American soccer.
you know how we Americanize everything around here,
It's
Kayla.
true.
You see what I'm saying?
First for everything.
Throw this guy
Literally.
here as a charity case, okay? Hey, first kick him. That's all I'm telling you, man.
I actually, the more you talk about it, the more it grows on me as a possibility.
There is a game that San Jose did it, and it went viral of a guy, not a first kick. It was at halftime.
Not a first kick, okay.
And a guy kicks it from, or two guys kick it from the edge of the 18-yard box, and they try to kick it to where it lands on midfield, like on the spot at midfield. And a guy did it and literally kicked the ball 40 yards, perfect speed, and it just landed on the halfway line. And all these European people found it on the internet. It was like, this guy deserves $1 million. This is great. This is unbelievable how hard that is to do. It's true.
Cool.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, maybe I'm on to something, but hey, look, I'm willing to fall on the sword for it. It's okay. It is all right. Other than that, though, man, I already have my "You're Not That Guy" too.
Do you?
Oh my gosh,
Jim
I
Mora?
got it. No.
Probably should be.
Not this time. Not this time. I got it though, and I feel like all of us will understand it whenever we get to that point.
So it's a personal one.
It is, but you'd be surprised on who I'm defending on this one.
Oh.
This one will be very unique, man.
Not Jim Irsay.
Not Irsay
Okay.
on that. No, not him tweeting out. Bert, that is by far the silliest
Thank
tweet.
you for coming to me on that, because when that happened, I have so many questions. Like, why is he holding that man's hand like he's a chimpanzee? Like, you know how monkeys like hold like one little finger when they're walking?
Yes.
Why is he down there biting down? Why is he down there moving his arms like that? Why are his knees bent like that? Why is the whole locker room allowing him to do this? Why is he hunched over? What's he bending over for? I just don't know what the hell's going on with Jim Irsay. I get it was not a big win.
It
You
was
beat
the
the worst.
Panthers.
You beat the worst team in the league. You beat the worst team in the league, and he's in there dancing to Meek Mill like they won the Super Bowl.
That's when you know you're low.
Is that you're not that guy?
No, that ain't it. But that is a
That was a
prequel
good
to
one,
it
though.
right there, Bert.
He might be losing some of his mental constitutions. I don't know what's going on with Jim Irsay, but he looked like he had something. He was lost and looking for something on the ground.
I'm
doing
surprised
that.
he got up from that stance.
Hey, well, he was holding on to somebody's hand for leverage, so they helped him get back up. But
Jimmy, that is the I'm talking about the case one of why some people who get millions and billions of dollars should not have like ownership of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, just win the lottery. Like, you are living out every dream that you thought you'd ever have. Okay, and people, nobody's there to tell them no.
Oh, yeah, no, not at all.
he did donuts in his golf cart after that, smoking a cigar inside. It doesn't matter to him.
I heard he ashed it on somebody's hat.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I was going to say, if this is the dance for after beating the Carolina Panthers, I wonder what it was like when they finally beat the Titans.
Oh,
my God.
shoot. I'm
I've seen
surprised
it.
they didn't put that out.
Maybe there were illicit things going on in the locker room. That's why they couldn't put it on camera.
Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished?
Oh
Y'all
my
haven't
gosh.
seen this Irsay
Doesn't
thing.
look okay.
I mean, this is the equivalent of doing a locker room dance after beating San Diego State. Like, congratulations, you beat a team from the WAC. Like, what are we like? The Panthers are basically the equivalent of playing an FCS team in the National Football League.
Or I don't know who's worse. Irsay.
or Kel.
You know who I'm going to.
I don't know where you're going.
South
so
Carolina.
Go for it.
South Carolina. Shane Beamer.
Shane Beamer.
Wait, his daddy coined the old man dancing in the locker room. If you ever
That's
want to
true.
look at the best old man dance in the locker room, go look at Frank Beamer's last win. When the game before he retired, he was in the locker room and he was doing his damnedest. I don't know what
That's all
dance
you
move he
can
was
say.
doing, but he was trying.
Well, then Irsay took cues from it because he's shaking his fist like an old man.
The other one is Roy Williams.
Roy
Oh,
Williams.
Who
Roy.
started that
Yeah.
trend?
Oh, Roy.
Yeah, Roy looked kind of smooth
He
though. Roy
was.
came
Yeah,
in
Roy
with the
kinda-
shoulder bob.
Roy was kind of cool with it.
Yeah, Roy had it going on, man. But between Shane Beamer and Irsay this weekend, dog, Jacksonville State, and I know we took a L to Georgia State back in the day and stuff.
It's ancient history. Don't worry about that.
But like Shane,
On the
dog,
rich rod.
dog, man.
Dang.
I couldn't be a South Carolina fan this morning. Good thing I'm not.
615-737-1045. Couldn't be my team on RKW. Coming up, an NFL weekend recap where I think we might have a problem in Houston. Houston does not have a problem in their new quarterback. That's next at RKW.
It's Ramon Foster from My PhD Weight Loss. Good people, y'all know the holiday season is right around the corner, okay? And it's time for you to just make that New Year's resolution before you actually get to that point. On average, most male clients lose between 3 to 5 pounds a week, and most female clients lose between 2 to 3 pounds a week. I don't care how many pounds you're trying to lose, whether it be 10, 12, 15, 50 or more, man. Visit My PhD Weight Loss. They can get you on track to doing what you want to do as far as shedding those pounds without having to just beat yourself down to. The best thing is they have a guarantee. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of your program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. Again, if it's been on your mind, visit myphdweightloss.com and be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. Get you a hot and fresh cup of the best coffee in Nashville. 8th and Roast Coffee cultivates community by the cup. You can find your favorite retail bag as well in every local Kroger and Whole Foods. Streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch is where you can join the discussion. C.J. Stroud, guys, might be a little bit of a problem for the Tennessee Titans and the rest of the AFC South. 30 of 42, 270 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 147.8 yesterday, including a late touchdown drive to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The dude is impressive.
He is, and has the poise for it, too. And in a city with a team that needs this type of thing to happen for them, man, it was fascinating. I think I heard already a pregame interview was talking about he's getting more and more comfortable with embracing what Houston is and how they are as an organization in the city and stuff. And that just sounds like he's about to get entrenched in it. Mm-hmm. And when you said Houston, we might have a problem. Yeah. No, this young fella is legit. As far as I can see right now, the poise is what's most fascinating about it. And this this level of play. Like, everybody's looking for that one QB1 that you can get as a rookie. It's like, yeah, we got something. But he's doing this as a rookie. He don't have much help right now, and he's got a rookie head coach, too, who is very defensive-minded. Again, on the other side of this is, if he continues on this track, unless they decide to pay the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach a boatload of cash, their OCs is probably going to be head coaches somewhere else, too. But it's such a – I hate to say it like this, but it's such a good thing going on in Houston. It's fun to watch right now. They are.
I mean, give D'Amico Ryans a lot of credit too, because he has done a good job just overall with this team. I think making them believe that they can be competitive in this first kind of full year of a rebuild, even though they've been doing it for a little bit now. But C.J. Stroud on that last drive yesterday, the composure that he had and the way to facilitate that and get that done by getting in the end zone, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was incredible. He didn't flinch. And remember, guys, if we rewind, we're talking about a guy that caught a lot of flack before the NFL draft when the S2 cognition test came out and he was dead last at 18. And he was catching heat for that. And to see him go out and ball out so far this season, I love that. That's a big you-know-what to everybody who was dissing on him.
It is. I was also thinking this, too. I was like, man, I should text a group and say we should have that AFC South quarterback conversation. It's here.
Oh, yeah.
Just all across the board. I mean, minus what Irsay did yesterday. You got to be fascinated on what Indy's got, the Titans have in Levis, C.J. Stroud, and also he's the old bull now, but he's not. Trevor Lawrence. This could turn the AFC South on its head as far as the play of these quarterbacks if they live up to that potential.
Mm-hmm.
364 yards for Houston in the second half of a 2-point win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Noah Brown had 6 catches for 153 and a touchdown. Dalton Schultz had 10 catches for 130 and a touchdown. Nico Collins, who has been a revelation for that team, 3 catches for 54 yards and a touchdown. And then Tank Dell, who we saw at the Senior Bowl last year and were impressed by, 6 catches for 114 and 2 touchdowns. I think there's also a moment happening, guys, for the small wide receiver in the NFL. We talked about this in the draft this past season about how there are so many small, as Coach Mack would say, gadget wide receivers with maybe they're 170 pounds soaking wet, but they can run all these routes and catch the football. And yet you worry about guys like that holding up. Maybe it's too early to say that small wide receivers are worth investing in because we've got one here in Kyle Phillips who's only really had one good performance in a Titans jersey because he is that guy as well. But between Tank Dell, Jordan Addison, and a couple draft classes ago, Devontae Smith, I think we're moving towards an era where teams might be less likely to be afraid of drafting a wide receiver who they have to lie about their weight and say they're 180 pounds when they're not even that soaking wet.
Tyreek has definitely helped that a good bit,
Tyreek
too.
Hill, sure.
You know what I'm saying? As far as like saying, oh, they're not durable. Pittsburgh has a guy, Calvin Austin's one of those 4-3 guys, too, that you speak, track guys, right, Will? But the other portion of it is, the other side of it to me is where we got to start watching these young guys that they've grown up, the era that they've grown up in, right? These dudes grow up playing 7-on-7 ball. These dudes grow up playing, hey, let me get the ball to you as quick as I can. They go to all these camps and they stack up all this talent on these travel 7-on-7 teams so much that those dudes know how to make plays. Those dudes aren't afraid of contact. Those dudes know that if I get in space, I'm going to break you down and make you look bad, okay? And you're right. Tank Dell is one of those guys, man, that you don't have to question anymore. If you are tough enough, despite the size, there's a spot for you on NFL teams. It's not just those dudes we've mentioned. There's others, too, right? Dallas ended up drafting a undersized running back. I forget his name. His dad ended
Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce Vaughn. There's always been that type of guy, but I think the league has just been too big for him. But now with it being a high-skilled oriented league, I can see this being something that teams are going to start looking for more and more often.
Yeah, I think you get the biggest example of it in Miami, clearly with a Tyreek Hill, the smaller type like you were mentioning, because all of it comes down to if you can get a little speed on your team and have that aspect to your offense, like that's what offenses, at least what we're seeing right now, we're finding success in them if you've got that speed guy. And I remember we watched Tank Dell at the Senior Bowl when we were down there last year, and I mean, talk about impressive. I mean, he was impressive, but there was so much around him still being that smaller framed guy. He wasn't like this high draft pick. I don't know where he ended up going, but he did drop a little. Yeah. And there was that conversation around, just durable because he was so small.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, it's less even about Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill has world-class sprinter speed that you can be any size, and that you're going to be fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm talking more about the Jordan Addisons, the Jalen Hyatts, because Hyatt has that speed too, but not to the level
Well,
Tyreek
Tank
Hill
Dell
does.
has that speed, though. That's
not straight line speed,
No.
though. This is more gadget, over the middle slot, but you're also tiny. I mean, he's listed at 165 at Houston.
Is he?
I mean, that's the thing. Like that is he can't run like Tyreek Hill can. Nobody can.
I didn't realize Jordan
I wasn't
Addison was
comparing
that
to
small,
him.
too. I didn't realize Jordan Addison was that little. But
He's skinny, and
he's
so is
skinny,
Devontae Smith.
not that
obviously.
tall. Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, I thought he was taller, Jordan Addison.
I did, too. He plays big.
I was talking about Tank Dell.
Tank, yeah. But either way, though, the way I'm looking at now, if we look at C.J. Stroud, 71% completion on the year. 1 touchdown, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. Is Houston, how do we view this game with Houston coming up at the end of the year? These two. Because this is going to be very fascinating with the weapons that they have and also the defense that they're playing, too. The last 2 losses that they've had have been within like 2 to 3 points, too.
Well,
so it's not like they're out of games. And, of course, Atlanta and Carolina, bad teams, but still.
They're still win. I mean, you could say that about the Titans losing to bad teams, right? I mean, and here's the thing. You probably didn't want to get Houston towards the end of the season in the small amount of time you got them. Usually they're split up a little more.
Yeah.
So to see that close together and to know they're clicking and getting more in a groove as the season goes along, that's worrisome to me. I would have rather had one earlier in the season when things weren't exactly all together.
Jordan Addison listed at 5'11", 175.
It's a small man, but he's good. He's quick. Now they'll have a 1 and a 2 if they decide to pay Justin Jefferson.
C.J. Stroud, the only rookie in NFL history with 400-plus passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and 0 interceptions in a game. Broke the record for the most passing yards by a rookie quarterback in a game with 470. Also recorded the highest next-gen stats passing score by any quarterback in a game this season. I wonder if the Panthers kept their receipt on Bryce Young.
Trying to trade that one back in.
I mean, is it too early to say that was the wrong pick?
No, I don't think so. I think it's too early to say that. Look at the talent around him.
Wow.
There's not too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you should give up on him. That being said, if they go back on it in a year and decide that's not a good pick at 1, like you're going to give him a year to prove himself,
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair in that situation. I think there's more to build there.
Their team, I think, in my opinion, is just terrible. I just think they're cheeks. Carolina's not run well. They don't have many supporting cast around. They got good players, but it's not good around them. We'll see. I don't. After 1 year, I'm not willing to say, yeah, that was the wrong pick. I think that's way too soon. 1-7 is not a good look, though.
Houston's got the same losing culture as Carolina, to be fair as well.
Yeah, they do.
And C.J. Stroud stepped right into it and won a lot of games.
I just don't see that. Not after 1 year.
Okay.
I mean, think about what we thought about Jacksonville last year. right?
2 years ago, even, right?
2 years ago.
Under
Is it
Herbs.
under Herbs? It's second year? No, last year was.
Herbs was 2 years ago. And that's when he was just
Herbs 2 years
trash.
ago.
Yeah, it's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard
give him time,
comparing
bro.
Frank Reich to Urban Meyer because no one's as bad at Urban Meyer at this,
Exactly.
other than other failed college coaches who are long gone. But well, elsewhere, our guy Josh Dobbs led Minnesota to an epic win over the Atlanta Falcons. I loved his quote post game in this win over Atlanta. Atlanta, not serious people, but Jeff Wald from Fox Channel 9 in Minnesota tweeted this out, said Josh Dobbs spoke about communicating with Kevin O'Connell in the headset, said, it's like if you were taking AP Spanish all year, you showed up on Wednesday and someone told you that you have an AP French exam on Sunday. That's what was going on out there.
Oof. Great way
That
to
is the
put
most
it.
Josh Dobbs quote of all time, but he literally has a niche now of being if you need a quarterback in a pinch to learn the offense in 48 hours, I'm your guy. And he's doing that job better than anybody else can in this league.
He is. He's making a name for himself and a pathway. He's the guy that you can always count on. I'm hoping he turns into your next Tyrod or Geno, just on the basis that he's going to stick around and eventually get his shot. As we know right now, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. I'd love to live in a world I think, oh, man, they're going to extend Josh Dobbs and he's going to be the guy of their future. And, man, they can build upon him. But, of course, they'll probably end up having a high draft pick and go get a young rookie quarterback. But I actually heard two pros in a cup of Joe this morning saying the problem with a lot of NFL teams is they don't invest in their backup quarterbacks.
Yep.
They just don't. And Josh Dobbs is one of those types of guys. Like, we look at, hey, you only got one dude, and that one dude's supposed to save your day. If not, then you're hoping for high draft picks the next year. What about just sustaining the level of culture where you win? Winning is always going to be on the forefront of it. A backup quarterback like Dobbs making $7-8 million a year, maybe a little bit more, who knows? At least you're going to get some quality. At least you're going to have to where your team knows if the main franchise guy goes out, then we're still in it. There's nothing worse. Of course, the backups being in place of the starting quarterback, there's always going to be some anxiety. There's always going to be some, hey, we got to go fight for this win, y'all. And instead, when you go in with the franchise guy, you don't question it. But when you throw in a young rookie or a throwaway backup that you just say, hey, he's good for our cap, then that really diminishes the way the team feels. Although you're going to be pros about it, you're going to find a way in order to win games if necessary. But it's good having guys like Dobbs around, like Geno around, who had been there for a while, those Chase Daniels and those types of dudes that can help you actually win games. Jimmy G is a product right now and still living off of being a backup behind Brady. Of course, he was young at the time, but you need those types of guys in the league, and it's a shame that they get pushed to the back burner because cap and the quarterback pay and stuff like that. You deserve to have dudes like Josh Dobbs around. I'm not just saying this because of him. I'm saying this because I've been in situations before to where the backup goes in the game and the season goes to crap just that fast.
Yeah, I think there's going to be 9 backups that will end up playing this weekend when you consider tonight's game with Zach Wilson, because technically he is the backup as well. It's amazing, just like at this time of the year, you kind of expect some backups to be in. But at the same time, I mean, that's a lot in terms of a quarterback position and backups playing. And they're extremely valuable. I just love what Josh Dobbs has shown in terms of that short, like, turnaround, coming in, learning those offenses. It kind of was emphasized here in Tennessee when he was able to do that. I think that really kind of put something on his name even more. Like, this guy is smart. Like, this guy, you can bring him in and he can do some things for you. And I think he brings the feel good too. Like, everybody you saw on social media yesterday, no matter if they knew Josh or didn't cover him or, did cover him, it was all just awesome in terms of Josh Dobbs and the positivity he brings to a team. You got to love having him up there right now.
Can I give you guys a prediction?
Sure.
I think Josh Dobbs is going to be this generation's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yep.
Just like a smart
agree.
dude. He ends up starting for a lot of teams because he ends up beating out guys. He gets brought into situations where they need somebody to manage it, to be a smart leader. Harvard, rocket scientist. Like, the parallels are just there.
Mm-hmm.
It's fair.
I can see that being the case.
Yep.
Sat next to him while he's being tutored in the Thornton Center at Tennessee while I was getting
being tutored
on his 300 level aerospace engineering classes. Because Tennessee, you do have required tutoring if you're a student athlete and you have a certain GPA. I don't think his was because he had a certain GPA. It's because he's literally building rockets and things of that nature. But I always tell the story. I had my required tutoring freshman year because regardless of what you come in with, like high school GPA wise, they don't care. They just like make you take tutoring and you pick like 4 of your classes. I think they actually pick for you. And so I was in Political Science 101, and they made me take tutoring for Political Science 101, which is like, what's the Bill of Rights? Like, it's super simple. Like, what are the 3 branches of government? And so I'm sitting next to him in this big, like, study room having my tutoring while they're, like, building. There were, like, numbers I've never even seen before. Like, they were inventing new numbers just to talk about how to build rockets and things of that nature. And I'm looking at the side like, I think maybe you should just go help him, too. Maybe they need someone to help erase problems on the whiteboard when they're finished.
Yeah.
Incredible mind.
It is incredible, man. And good on him for being able to stick to his guns and take those courses because coaches, they pressure you.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, yeah.
They pressure you. Okay. Oh, you trying to be a finance major? Okay. Well, how many practices you going to miss?
Like,
okay.
do they not offer that in the mini term in the summer when we only have practice?
That's the go-to right there.
That's the classic of like, can you not take that in the off season? No.
You go from wanting to be a finance major, getting your BA to just, I'll just do sociology.
Sociology. I was just going to say.
Let's go take anthropology. Yeah, that'll be fine.
Psychology. Yeah. Oh, my God. And
the funny thing about that, too, is you have more teachers that want to be the hero and be strict against the athlete thing when you're a freshman or sophomore in like the 100 level classes because they know no one takes their class seriously. Yeah. So they have the extra burden to prove themselves. And then you get into junior and senior year and like people are willing to work with you. They don't really care. My experience. At least.
They are. When you get older in college, y'all know how this goes. None of the good old email won't save.
You know.
Hey, I'm talking about email king over here. Can I get a little extra time?
Sure.
Oh my gosh! But to the point of Josh Dobbs and these young quarterbacks around the league, man, it's good. And also Saturday. What a football night, okay?
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Oh, my
It was fun.
gosh. And all I can say, speaking of like C.J. Stroud and Will Levis and all these young quarterbacks in the league's in good. I mean, in college, the league's is in good. It's in good hands. As somebody that's played in, you just wonder, okay, is it going to fall down? I did have somebody say, I was listening, I was in the car, of course, yesterday. It was like, when are we going to get rid of the kickoff? It was a Baltimore radio station, actually, Bert. For some reason, it's easy to listen to y'all games whenever, I'm off on the weekend. That's weird of me, okay?
Ravens
They got a good play-by-play guy.
They did.
Jerry Sandusky, the voice of the Ravens, does a good job.
The hay is in the barn, as he says.
I was listening to his broadcast yesterday, too, actually.
Were you?
Yeah.
I know why Ramon was listening to that. He was listening because the Ravens covered for him. I think we
Yes,
all went
they did.
2-1 or better this week.
I went 3-0.
I was 3-0 as well.
Those are both better than 2-1.
I know, Bert. But they asked a question. Whoever his I guess analyst is asked a question. When will we get rid of the kickoff? It's like, what do you mean? He was like, how about as a team, you let them know whenever you're going to attempt a return? Because I guess with Tucker, if he wants you to kick return, you will. If he doesn't, he doesn't. It was like, why don't you just announce to the team whether you're just going to kick it through the uprights and just put it at the 25, or are you willing to just, put it in play? I was like, that actually is pretty cool, but you also play the side of just saying, well, that's part of the game too. It's like you don't know if I'm going to make you return it or not, but
right, like the weather or something, like the wind blow it out of bounds,
exactly,
or human error.
That conversation comes up more and more. I think we will set NFL to where there's no kickoff. They just place it at the 25.
Also this weekend, roughing the passer is at a whole new level.
Insane.
Sure is.
Whole new level.
Don't breathe on somebody too hard.
Yeah.
I know. Even in college, it's like that.
Flag.
Unless you play in Alabama.
Yeah, Dallas Turner got away with one.
Unless you play in Tuscaloosa. It's like 2-3 times, right?
Colts 27, Panthers 13. That is why Jim Irsay was dancing. Bryce Young, speaking of Alabama quarterbacks, no longer has the benefit of his line never being called for holding and always being roughing when he gets hit. Bad pick six in this one. A couple of them.
Yeah.
Actually, had 2 of them.
To the same dude.
Yeah. Second quarterback drafted number 1 overall to throw 2 pick sixes in a game as a rookie. joining Andrew Luck in 2012 against the Patriots. Wow. That's one area where you don't want to be compared to Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
Maybe he can join his book club now. They can be part of that exclusive club. 615-737-1045. Coming up, Joe Burrow might be back. Bengals certainly were last night on Sunday Night Football. We'll recap it on the other side.
This is your off-the-track racing report, brought to you by State Water Heaters.
Destiny in the desert. Ryan Blaney captured his first NASCAR Cup Series championship on Sunday at Phoenix, finishing the race in second, but besting Kyle Larson, William Byron, and Christopher Bell to earn his first career series title. He won it in his first Championship 4 appearance and 7th straight playoff appearance. For Team Penske, they garnered back-to-back titles, having won last season with Joey Logano. Blaney joins Logano and Brad Keselowski as the third driver to win a series championship for Roger Penske. For the other Championship 4 drivers, Larson finished just behind Blaney, third in the race and runner-up for the title. Byron finished 4th and 3rd respectively, while Christopher Bell finished last in the race and 4th in the Championship 4. Ross Chastain was the race winner at Phoenix, getting his second win of the season. Also, Sunday's race was the final one for Kevin Harvick as a full-time series driver. The future Hall of Famer finished in 7th.
This has been your off-the-track racing report, brought to you by State Water Heaters.
I'm Liz Allison. For years, you've heard me talking about State Water Heaters and how they are a leader in the industry, providing the most durable residential and commercial-grade water heaters. I have a State Water Heater in my home, and you should too. State Water Heaters are professional-grade, sold to professionals in your home or business. And you can get one installed in your home or business just by going to statewaterheaters.com, click on the Find a Local Installer link, and you'll get your water heater in your home just like me. State Water Heaters for the professionals and you.
Welcome to a brand new week on RKW, brewed by 8th and Rose. 615-737-1045 is our number. Coming up in 15 minutes, an interesting report out of New England over the weekend has Mike Vrabel as a potential candidate in a place where there is not currently an opening. We'll get to that coming up in 15 minutes in the terms of what would be certainly a groundbreaking move in the National Football League, should it happen. Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. We've also got a pair of Nashville SC, Orlando City SC playoff tickets to give away coming up in 15 minutes and again at 9 o'clock this morning. But, guys, since week 5, Joe Burrow has a 4-0 record, a 75.8% completion percentage, 10 passing touchdowns, and a 111.2 passer rating. All of those leading the NFL among quarterbacks who have made 3 starts. Are the Bengals back to being in your top 5 teams tomorrow when we rank top teams in the NFL?
Mine, not yet.
Really?
Not yet. Yeah, they're
Surprises
up there.
me.
Yeah, they're up there. Of course, they're going to have to work their way back up. But Cincinnati is doing what they do. I think they did this the last year and the year before that, too. I see the power in what Cincinnati has, the playmaking ability, what their defense is capable of. And we will also have to start get louder with our questions about Josh Allen, too, playing quarterback in Buffalo. Cincinnati made him look pedestrian, but others have, too. And Joe Burrow, that escapability was back. He might be back.
Yeah, they might sneak into my top 5. I've got to do everything today and look at everything in terms of losses and who gets out. But they're climbing because they haven't been in my top 7 at all. And I think when you see a healthy offense from Cincinnati, you just know how deadly they can be. Because not only do you have the Jamar Chase, obviously, but you have T. Higgins seeing what he did last night, over 100 yards, 8 receptions, I think. And then to add to it, guys, and you've brought this up numerous times, you've got the run game. You've got Joe Mixon, too. So you can integrate that. Their defense is good enough, right? If they continue to just, win games, I think they could be a big problem because Joe Burrow looks healthy.
I think the bigger thing as well is just their defense looking like a legitimate defense. And, both your points are 100% correct. I totally agree. I think up there, too, going into week 9, Cincinnati was ranked 27th in the NFL in yards allowed. At one point, the Bills went 4 straight possessions last night without running more than 5 plays. The first 3 of those drives combined for 0 yards. Nationally, Joe Burrow will get all the praise, and as he should, right, for stepping up, looking healthy. He's got weapons. They're an offense that has no weakness at this point. But that secondary looks a lot better than it was. Cam Taylor-Britt is playing well, had an interception of Josh Allen last night. Jermaine Pratt punching the football out of Dalton Kincaid's arms. I think without that fumble and Dalton Kincaid flipping over a linebacker and Jermaine Pratt smartly punching it out, Buffalo might score a touchdown there and end up winning the football game. It was a good game. I'm not ready to give the Buffalo eulogy yet, even though they're 5-4. They've played a lot of tough teams, and they've got the toughest schedule in the NFL. But last night, I think we just saw, it honestly looked like Joe Burrow finally looked like Joe Burrow again, and Josh Allen has some things to figure out.
Yes, he does, man. Again, very solid squad. The AFC is heating up where you need it to. This November ball is kicking up teams that are really, those types are really putting their hand in the pile here, man. It is fascinating, too, watching what home field can do for you at times, too. Cincinnati's crowd was insanely loud last night. And they got to Josh Allen, man, in ways that just affected his throwing lane. And that's what you got to do with him. You ain't even really got to sack him, Will. To your point about Cincy's defense, you just got to get him moving around. Get him moving around. Get him excited. I feel okay with Josh Allen running the ball at times when you know he's going to either do something silly, make a turnover, or put himself in harm's way. That's just where he is, man. And like you said, I'm not ready to pile on, but the voices should be louder about his abilities and inabilities sometimes to win games. Cincinnati has a really good defense. But if you're supposed to be him, Joshua Allen of the Buffalo Bills, not the outside linebacker in Jacksonville, then you got to start showing it more. He is probably one of the most inconsistent elite quarterbacks we have around here. And you watching guys like Joe Burrow find his footing and having a young guy not just him, but numerous young guys in this league that's going to eclipse Josh Allen's play if he don't get it together and start figuring out his playmaking ability. But tip the hat to Joe Burrow and the Bengals, 5-3 on the season right now. I think somebody said all 4 of the AFC North teams would make the playoffs if they ended the season. That's insane to think where Cincinnati was to start off. We were laughing at them.
Yeah, the AFC North, if you look at it right now, that might be the most competitive, right? I mean, you're looking at what the Browns are doing, and I know that was against the Arizona team that was taped up with Clayton Tune. But, the Ravens, I think the Ravens might be one of the best football teams in the country right now in terms of the league.
Yeah. I think the Ravens are the best team in the AFC right now.
You've said that for like a couple weeks now, I feel like.
I do. It seems like the only teams that are doormats of the AFC are in the AFC West.
Yeah.
I mean, Denver still beat Kansas City. I mean, it does feel like there is a level of parity even this season that we don't often get. Because AFC South, there are no doormats.
No.
I mean, the Titans are last right now.
No doormats. So you got to show up to play or you're going to get punched in the mouth against these teams, essentially what it is. I mean, again, I think we see what the Titans' issues is that quarterback play with what other teams are doing. And hopefully they get addressed. And I know that's a big conversation we got to have here in a little bit, but definitely no longer, and just the future of what the AFC South is going to look like. I'm excited for what it can be.
In terms of ranking teams, in terms of a power ranking, like we do every Tuesday, I think the Bengals might be in my top 3. I mean, they're playing as well as anybody in football right now. I mean, they have back-to-back wins over Seattle, San Fran, and Buffalo.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All teams who have been in our top 7, and all good football teams.
All right, I'll take off my hater glasses then.
It is so hard, though. You always have that one team, I feel like, that you just despise.
It is.
In football.
I always do, and that's so bad by me.
Well, and they get put on a pedestal, too, on national conversations. And it is incredible how a team in a market that no one used to care about is now an it team because girls love their quarterback on TikTok and guys love their quarterback because he smokes cigars and is just a cool guy. Like, everyone loves Joe Burrow.
They do.
All generations, all ages, all genders love Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And he is a national phenomenon now. In Cincinnati, Ohio, Northern Kentucky has a legitimate superstar. And I will never get used to it. Ever get used to it.
See what he's saying? You see what he's saying? Like, imagine having to play against him and knowing, like, it was somebody speaking about this recently. It's just like, it's certain teams that burn you, or you just hard to believe that they're that good. Cincinnati is that team to me. Although Joe Burrow checks every single box. He does. I just feel like since he's going to drop the ball at any point in time.
Even with what they've done in the past couple of years, and I know they haven't won the Super
year,
Bowl, but they've pushed far.
They were checked to go to the Super Bowl again, and last year was a letdown. But yeah, it's always something with Cincy.
At least they made it further than they ever did with Andy Dalton in the playoffs.
That's very true. And I'm
they went to one
of
spot
that too.
with him.
We loved him, Andy Dalton, boy.
In the F&M Bank chat, Eric writes in and says, "That isn't true. I can't stand Joe Burrow."
We got one.
Okay.
I feel like you might be alone in that, Eric.
Outsider there.
Even I can admit, the dude is cool.
Oh, yeah.
He
I
cold.
love Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
He's
he
great.
cold. I respect what it is. He cold.
Jarius hates
we have
him.
2 people in the F&M Bank chat who hate Joe Burrow.
He
I
cold.
feel like you just hate Cincinnati.
And that's okay. I can admit that, but I like Joe Burrow.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah. That's okay with y'all? All right, that's
And
cool.
T, you like T.
T. Higgins?
Yeah.
I like T. There's a few players. Mike Hilton, is a good friend. All of them. Like, I like their team. I just hate them
You
as
hate
a
the
being.
Bengals.
Yeah.
T. Higgins could be a Tennessee Titan this time next year. Who's to say?
If you keep
You never know.
balling.
Oak Ridge, Tennessee's finest. 615-737-1045, the number. Coming up, we've got a couple of Nashville SC tickets to give away. In fact, we've got a family 4-pack of tickets to give away. Nashville and Orlando. Take the whole family tomorrow night to Geodis Park. We'll tell you how you could do that. And we will take a look at the big story over the weekend about New England targeting Mike Vrabel. No, not as a tight end in the red zone again. As the head coach. That's next on RKW.
The temperatures are dropping rapidly. Energy costs are on the rise. If you have old, drafty windows, your furnace is working harder than ever to keep your family warm, okay? Window Nation wants to help this month with 0% financing for 5 years, Kayla. Plus, 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. Now is the time to protect your family from the elements, lower your energy costs, and upgrade the look and feel of your home.
That's right. We get another few days of warmer temperatures, and then they drop again. And so why not just be prepared with getting new windows from Window Nation, because that air, it is getting cooler. Maybe your windows are hard to open. That probably means you need new windows. And why not invest in your home today? Save up to 30% on top of that in terms of your energy bills by keeping the heat in. And Window Nation, they are the pros. They've installed nearly 2 million windows, 96% perfection rate. And if you want to get on it before the real winter hits, do it now. It's 866-90-NATION or simply log on to windownation.com.
What's going on? 7 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Despite looking rough on paper, I'm sure you heard your buddies this weekend say, oh my God, it's a terrible NFL slate. The NFL slate this weekend delivered. Texans won a barn burner against the Bucs 39-37. C.J. Stroud set a new record for rookies passing yards in a game with 470. Also threw 5 touchdowns, including the final go-ahead touchdown to Tank Dell with just seconds on the clock to win it. Texans are now 4-4 and play the 5-3 Bengals next week. Massive hat tip to Josh Dobbs. He was just traded to Minnesota, didn't practice with any of the offensive players, but still led the Vikings to a victory when Jaron Hall was knocked out of the game. Vikings win 31-28. Dobbs finished with 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdowns. Vikings are now 5-4 and are in the final playoff spot in the NFC. And now Sunday Night Football, the Bengals mauled the Bills 24-18. Burrow threw for 348 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bills offense struggled to keep up. Despite Josh Allen accounting for both touchdowns, he didn't get the go-ahead opportunity after the Stephon Diggs octopus, where Diggs scored the touchdown and the 2-point conversion. Bengals are now 5-3, with every team in the AFC North currently in the playoffs. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Seven a.m. on a Monday morning in beautiful Music City. Welcome in to RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast. We've got some tickets to give away and a big discussion to have on your Tennessee Titans. Coming up in 20 minutes, we'll play the audio of Mike Vrabel's answer when asked about if he is ready to name Will Levis as his starting quarterback. Not yet. Said he would talk about it over the weekend. Well, the weekend is over, and I think we're curious on what that conversation sounded like within Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh is our producer. I'm Will Bowling. You can hear what our conversations sound like every weekday morning right here and online on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch.
Please.
Let's give away some tickets.
Do it.
Nice.
How about that?
Do it.
Nashville SC is going for gold in the Audi 2023 MLS Cup playoffs. And 104.5 The Zone's ticket window is now open thanks to Window Nation. Be caller number 5 right now to win a family 4-pack of tickets to see a must-win match for the boys in gold in Music City as Nashville SC takes on Orlando tomorrow night at Geodis Park. 615-737-1045. That is how you win a family 4-pack of tickets to see Nashville SC and Orlando City. A 4-pack that you can also win later in the show if you are unable to get it on this try at 9 o'clock. There you go.
There you go. Phone lines are lighting up already.
Yeah. That'd be good.
That's a good 4-pack.
Yeah, it is. Oh, you get a family of 4, plus weather should be good enough before the weekend. The weekend's when it dropped down again, I think, for us.
Yeah.
It's me blindly giving you your temperatures this week.
That's
so.
Chief Meteorologist Ramon
Yeah.
Foster to you.
Not to be stepping on anybody's
AMS certified, huh?
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while. I went to that vocational school down the street, got
Right.
that done. Yeah,
right.
yeah,
How's the weather down there?
No, we'll not ever minimize anybody's real profession right there, but it should be a good time coming up for that game.
So over the weekend, Ben Volen of the Boston Globe has a detailed piece about the end of the Bill Belichick era possibly being around the corner for Robert Kraft of the New England Patriots, writing about how on October 22nd, Belichick had quietly signed a lucrative multi-year contract extension before the season. That coming out courtesy of NFL Network just a couple of weeks ago. But Ben Volen writes that maybe that extension isn't what you think it is. Says this is Belichick sending a message to Robert Kraft, Jonathan Kraft saying, don't forget that I signed a multi-year contract. If you fire me, I have a big fat buyout coming, and I intend to collect every penny. So then he writes, 2 sources close to the Patriots have independently said the same thing. They believe Mike Vrabel is the Kraft's home run choice to succeed Belichick, a choice that would come at a price. The Patriots would have to trade for Mike Vrabel from the Tennessee Titans, the same thing Robert Kraft did to acquire Bill Belichick in 2000. What's your initial reaction to this story?
My initial reaction, I wrote this down. You don't put out stuff like this unless he's probably gotten it from somebody else. You don't put out stuff like this unless you're just trying to get a feel for what your team and your fan base is capable of doing. I do believe there's a portion of this that could have some truth. Now, whether you're trading away a head coach, that is a dicey situation to be in, especially from the Titans side of it, too. Are you willing to depart with your coach who's kind of giving you some of the greatest years this franchise has had in recent history, right? But there's always going to be the tie. Vrabel is a commodity. Everybody has a price. And, of course, Ben Volin's been around for a very long – what's his credentials again, Will?
Boston Globe.
Boston Globe. Not a, local paper, right? It's not just local, what the Boston Globe is capable of. I feel like this guy's done a lot. Somebody's calling him a good reporter is what he is. And he's giving out a crazy scenario, too. Coach Vrabel's head coach, OC Josh Daniels. I don't understand.
Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels and defensive coordinator Gerard Mayo. Patriots dudes. Again, I'll just say this before we go further, Kayla. I'll let you get it. You don't put out this type of stuff unless there's a smoke and fire somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's always legs to something if you're getting 2 sources, too. I mean, it's not just one source he's getting it from, right? He's got 2 different people. So there's got to be a little legs to this story. Now, how blown up, it will get, I don't know. Bill Belichick has a team right now that's very stale. And really, if you want to go deeper, it has been ever since Tom Brady's left. It just hasn't been the same. And maybe you blame that on Mac Jones. You blame that on the changing of the OCs. But when it comes down to it, it's the head coach who's going to take a lot of the heat. And I think, this could be a thing where it might change, maybe not this year or next year, but maybe the year after. And we don't know Mike Vrabel in terms of what his goals are, right? He doesn't discuss that. He's in the now. He's in to being the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. But maybe it is a thing that he wants to eventually go coach where he won Super Bowls, right? I don't know that for sure, but it's never out of the realm to think that that's a possibility. But it's got to be both sides, too. It can't be a one-sided debate. And I think right now, whatever happens with this season, I don't see them getting rid of Vrabel in the first year he had to collaborate with Rand Carthon. I think that's the biggie right there. But never say never. There's definitely legs to this.
So the scenarios of teams trading for head coaches, there are a handful of them. And congratulations to Mark as well, who won our Nashville SC tickets.
Hey,
nice, Mark.
Headed to Jonas Park tomorrow night. Bill Parcells in 1997 traded for the Patriots to the Jets for 4 draft picks, a 3rd in 97, a 4th in 97, a 2nd in 98, and a 1st in 99. Pretty high price. Mm-hmm. April 1999, Mike Holmgren was traded from the Packers to the Seahawks for a 1999 second-round pick. When Holmgren was announced as the Packers head coach in 1992, Green Bay sent the 49ers a second-round pick, and he wasn't even the head coach of the 49ers at that point. He was their offensive coordinator. Then you got Bill Belichick, traded from the Jets to the Patriots for 3 draft picks, a 2000 first, a 2001 fourth, and a 2001 seventh. Patriots got a 5th in 2001 and a 7th in 2002 back. You got John Gruden, Herm Edwards. The most recent one, and the most current price that we would have as a standard of what a trade could look like way in the future for Mike Vrabel, is Sean Payton traded from the Saints to the Broncos for 2 draft picks, a 2023 first and a 2024 second. And the Saints sent a 2024 third back to Denver.
Yeah. First rounders, that's what pops out to me.
Do you have any interest at all if you could get a first-round pick back and probably a second? I would imagine the price for Mike Vrabel, if I'm Amy Adams Strunk and if I'm the Titans, I'm saying I don't do it for anything less than 2 first-round picks.
I'm with you. Give me give me either 2 firsts, or give me a first and 2 thirds, or give me a first, second, and a third. One of those have to line up, and I need 2 of them within the first year. If I'm getting 3, if you tell me I can't get 2 ones for them in 24 and 25, give me a first, second, and a third, or give me a first and 2 thirds.
And with a price like that and the needs this team has, you don't totally scoff at that, in my opinion, if you're the Titans.
But you also have to have a plan in place, because you can say all you want that Mike Vrabel isn't winning games right now, but be careful what you wish for. And if you're Amy Adams Strunk in this situation and you're really thinking about this as a possibility and getting compensation, clearly, like you just mentioned, 2 firsts or a first and a second, whatever it might be, you got to have a plan in place. Rand's got to have some sort of a idea, too, of who he wants to bring in that's going to be able to work with him and have his same, train of thought. Because I do feel like Mike Vrabel and him are on the same page. So you got to think about that as well.
But you also, and his conversation is too. Like, they technically don't have a quarterback. Their offensive line is makeshift as can be right now too. And you look at what their defense is also. It's somewhat aging. They don't have much of a winning culture right now. There's a lot for Vrabel to go into if he was ever considered this job. I almost feel like he's in a better position right now because he's got a quarterback of the future if we're considering what's in front of him currently. This is a big conversation for a lot of different reasons because what incentives does Vrabel have to actually want to leave other than more money, going to a place that he played at, and having, I guess, he's got both owners. I mean, Amy Adams Strunk is going to do the same thing that Robert Kraft is too. It's essentially is a need thing. Do you see a better opportunity there for you? Because you got Bills, you got Jets, and you got Miami. That's not as easy as saying, okay, we're right, guaranteed to win the AFC East. Mm-hmm. You're not guaranteed to win the AFC East if he goes over there, too. So, on top of having to find a franchise quarterback, on top of having some aging positions on that team.
It's a good point.
I don't know if he's getting better by getting traded.
And you wouldn't have 2 first-round picks in this scenario as well to help rebuild that roster, which needs a quarterback desperately.
Mm-hmm.
No. If Kraft is going to be that aggressive and if Miss Amy and Rand going to listen, I listen too.
Oh, you listen, absolutely.
Yeah, Titans win more on this trade scenario than the Patriots ever could, I feel like.
615-737-1045. Coming up next, we will play what Mike Vrabel had to say about Ryan Tannehill versus Will Levis on Friday and why Mike Vrabel says he is not willing to make a starting quarterback decision quite yet. I'm curious if his answer and if he does pick Ryan Tannehill, if that changes your opinion on Mike Vrabel, who had a very interesting meeting with the media on Friday afternoon. That's next on RKW. Hey, it's Will Bowling here for my friends at Lee Company. Does your garage door struggle to open or close? Are the wheels falling off the track? Is your remote not working? Well, the professional Lee Company team, they have you covered for all your garage door service needs. And right now, you can enjoy $50 off a garage door repair or tune-up. And I love talking about Lee Company, right? Because you hear me talk about all of the offers that they have, whether it's HVAC, your plumbing, facility managers. Well, in this case, they're going to give you a great deal to fix anything involved with your garage door. You can enjoy $50 off a garage door repair or tune-up. And when you put Lee Company on your team, you got teammates that can fix anything going on in your home that's not working properly. Contact Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com to make an appointment. That's leecompany.com for $50 off your next garage door repair or tune-up. Online, leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. 615-737-1045 is the number. Does your opinion on Mike Vrabel start to change if he goes back to Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, healthy again over a healthy Will Levis? Streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV. You can join in on the discussion as well right there in the F&M Bank chat, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, or Twitch.
Push, please.
And this conversation stems from his answer to a pair of questions on Friday, Mike Vrabel's, when it comes to a healthy Ryan Tannehill maybe being thrust back into the lineup. As of Friday, Mike Vrabel was unwilling to name Will Levis as his starting quarterback. Here he was answering a couple of questions. First, from Teresa Walker.
I know you said Monday you want to see Tannehill healthy, but at this point, with what you've seen out of Will, especially after a road environment last night, are you ready to name him maybe your starter?
No, not ready to do that yet. I think we'll have a conversation with the depth chart over the weekend, and we'll have a depth chart or something close to it available, when we talk to you on Tuesday to be able to go through the moving parts of not only Ryan's health, but whatever there are going on the offensive line, which there is, coming out of that game, which there would be like in the defensive secondary. So there'll probably be some moving parts here over the weekend.
When you make that decision, Mike, is it purely on who, assuming Ryan's healthy, is it purely on who's playing better right now, or do you take into account things like Ryan's track record or Will's potential, things like that as well?
Yeah, I think with any position, you look for, who gives you the best opportunity to win and where you're at and what's best for the football team. So, we'll have those conversations over the weekend. We'll see where Ryan's health is. We'll see where, some different guys are as health. But we're always just trying to figure out, what gives us the best chance to win. What we can do to win a football game, especially one next week that's on the road.
That second question, courtesy of John Glennon, Nashville Post, who will join us coming up in an hour. Do we believe him, guys, when he says that the decision hasn't been made yet?
I think Mike Vrabel, the way that he's always been, is he's never just going to give you that quick of an answer, right? And that was a day after the game. I truly do feel like he has to digest stuff with his staff, go over things. So I don't think he would have had a decision regardless. I think in the back of his mind, I would hope, had the decision that Will Levis is going to be the starter this next weekend in Tampa. But that is not the Vrabel way. Like, he will never come out right away and say that. I wouldn't even be surprised if he doesn't say it, on Tuesday. Because he likes to string along. He likes to kind of create that, they're both competing type of thing. Ryan's first week of practice, he'll be back out there. So they're probably going to say, we got to see what we can see from Ryan in practice as he returns, possibly. So it didn't surprise me that he didn't give us anything. But I think people's initial reaction from just the sight of what Will Levis has done is he's your starter. But you're not going to get that from Vrabel right away.
Yeah. For me, I feel like if you roll Tannehill back out there, it kind of puts a wet blanket over the fire. Not even just putting out the fire. Like, it just smothers it a little bit. You're just throwing a little ashes on top of what the potential of everything moving forward should or could be, is what you're getting out of starting Ryan Tannehill moving forward with him being on the road. And it's almost just like, okay, Coach, you're just giving it to him because he's your guy the last couple of weeks. And all things said, it's not what we think is going to be moving forward. If Ryan Tannehill doesn't have a contract next year, there's no extension on the table currently. Why are we wasting time? Like I said, it almost feels like, hey, let's just put a blanket on the fire, and the fire's still going to flame up because everybody knows what's behind Ryan Tannehill. The one of the things I took from what he said, Vrabel, in that question, that secondary question right there from John Glennon, was best opportunity to win and where we are at. You're competing. You're trying to get above 500. You're on the road trying to get that first road win. Will Levis, to me, seems and looks like the guy that can get you over the hump when it comes down to his playmaking ability. This offense has looked more precise with him at quarterback. The ability that you can live through a shoulderback's arms, shoulders, and legs looks more promising with Will Levis more than anything. And, of course, my tune has changed from where I was like, well, you can't bench a guy because he's
right.
injured. I've taken a 180 to that approach because watching him perform even last weekend, y'all, on Thursday, I was just like, he's got the goods. And it makes all the sense in the world. And, of course, Ryan Tannehill's coming back. If he's 100% healthy, cool. If he's still got a little bit of a hiccup in what he's got going on, you sit him. And then you also look at it and say, if he had won Thursday, there's no question about Will Levis being your guy for the future. Vrabel said the right things, Kayla. You're 100% correct. It's too soon after the game, and there's a whole, extra 4 days that you got to get back as far as like the short weekend break that you had. And if Tannehill is back and off his scooter or, his boot, it's fair to give him the opportunity. But this team rallies. Mm-hmm. This team, it looks good with him at quarterback. And y'all know I was anti this. My tune has changed.
You go with the hot hand, in my opinion, and the guy that's rallying your team. And to me, that is Will Levis, even with the loss, right?
Y'all felt so much better about him throwing.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
Absolutely. To make big plays, too.
Yeah.
I legitimately believe Will Levis gives the Titans their best chance to win right now.
Mm-hmm.
Over Ryan Tannehill.
Yep.
I can't believe I'm saying that. But at this point, it's not only a move for the future, it's a move in the present. What is interesting to me, guys, it's less about this quote and almost more about the one he had later in the press conference when speaking about the throw to Tajay Spears in the red zone at the end of the first half that was incomplete. And Mike Vrabel saying, well, that wasn't an accurate pass by Will. What are you talking about? I'm genuinely confused why Mike Vrabel is putting that incompletion on Will Levis when Tajay Spears is wide open and then starts backpedaling and stops and twists back the other way to try to catch the football. If he just keeps running, it is a walk-in touchdown. And honestly, the Titans probably win the football game.
I also wonder if this is part of his gamesmanship because you have a rookie quarterback that's getting a lot of praise right now from the national media. The name is being called out. Will Levis, he's the guy, And Mike Vrabel, we heard it from Chickahominy this year. When you're a rookie, you get it from Mike Vrabel. You don't get a lot of praise. You got to get a lot of criticism, and you have to earn it. And I wonder if this is part of his tactic, too, because I agree. I don't think that was really on Tajay Spears as much on Will Levis as much as it was Tajay Spears.
Well, and you got two rookies in that scenario where it's like, which rookie are you going to praise?
Yeah.
You're going to praise the one who's played more for you probably. Right. And that's Tajay. Hey, I'm with you. That was such a BS moment there.
Mike Vrabel is treating Will Levis in the quarterback position like he treats every other position, and I don't think you can do that. He knows it's not the same. When he says, well, it's just like every other position, we're going to evaluate it. No, it's not. The quarterback position dictates how every other position on your offense plays. In a lot of ways, now that you're sustaining drives, it also dictates a lot about your defense. To me, it's interesting because on one hand, I completely agree, right? Mike Vrabel, it's the gamesmanship, it's his mentality. He's a lot smarter than I think many of us give him credit for sometimes. But I also don't think he cares enough to go this far out of his way to play games, too. I'm caught between two minds in that.
Me too. I'm with you on that one because, again, to call out Will Levis on the ball, of course, every pass that he has, y'all, maybe except for one or two over the last 2 weeks, has been within the vicinity, right? It's a catchable ball. If Tajay doesn't start backpedaling, that is a catch. And you, as a coach, you can't down that. You cannot, right? But then you look at the way he can rally this team and watching how he supports that defensive side of the ball. Being backed up in Pittsburgh, to me, was his biggest test. I think he passed it with flying colors. They played Renegade on the road with that crowd just jumping as much as it was backed up. And this joker drops a dime on the sideline of trailer. And you say to yourself, I don't know if I've seen Tannehill make that throw in the last couple of years. Not like that. Not in those situations right there. And then, of course, if we're talking about the differences between what Will Levis has done and what Malik has done, too, I think we see the difference now.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And that ain't no knock on Malik either, but that's the biggest conversation we've been having. So if we can compare 1-to-1, meaning him to Malik, to also him to Ryan Tannehill, I'm okay with setting a dude that's making about $20+ million a year. It's just smart business to me, Will. When you're saying, okay, I get you don't want to give him too much praise, but there is a portion of this to where you say, all right, well, do you start C.J. Stroud and then you package him up for next year? Do Carolina say, you know what, we've seen Bryce make a good play or two. Let's package him up for next year.
Yeah, it's the worst possible argument right now.
And truthfully, with what we've seen out of, let's go college real quick. Jalen Milroe, he's gotten better while playing. The best way for you to get better is to play on the field.
Yeah, play football, right.
Play football, live reps, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Will Levis has gotten better through live reps.
Yeah.
Better than what we've seen Ryan Tannehill do. And I like what Tannehill is, what he's done for this franchise, and how he's had great conversation for us in his career here. But it makes sense for me, y'all, to say he's your dude.
Yeah.
He is.
I don't think you package him up at this point. And what's the worst thing? I know Ryan Tannehill's getting paid a lot of money, but that's the league. And you know what? To have him as a backup, that's a lot better, I guess, comforting thing than not anything against Malik, but I'd rather have Ryan right now as my backup. So,
Yep.
Comments in the Effin and Bank chat where Gary writes in on Twitter at Ramon Kayla Will, where you can write the show. Says, honestly, I wouldn't care if Vrabel wanted to put Tannehill behind this trash O-line for the rest of the season to keep Levis alive for next year. That's just a very defeatist way to look at your football team. If you want your future quarterback to get better, you play him. You don't protect him from getting hit. Spoiler alert, he's going to get hit even behind a good offensive line. Learn how to throw under pressure. That's not a thing. Putting a quarterback under bubble wrap for a season that is 9 months away.
That's what I'm saying.
mm-hmm.
And on top of that, you've seen this in other situations too. Joe Burrow went through it. Lamar went through it. I mean, Patrick Mahomes had the same issue. You can't protect your guy, especially if you know you're still rebuilding. And yes, it's okay to use that word these days. If we're going with Will Levis and what his offensive line is and what the skilled players are, yes, you are playing through a rebuild right now. But I'll tell you this, to Will's point, you can't package him up and bubble wrap him just because you don't want him to get hurt. I mean, think about Kirk Cousins. I mean, think about all of the quarterbacks that have had these. Dak, right? Dak got injured, still came back and got this team fighting. They played a heck of a game yesterday in Philly on the road. Coming up short, but that's a part of the game. If he's your dude, you go with your dude. That young fellow has it. The arm talent is there. I had people in Pittsburgh just telling me, it's like, man, you were right. I was like, I told y'all.
And they want that from Kenny Pickett. They're not getting it.
They're not.
And they're still waiting for that a couple of years after drafting him.
Well, after that, he was like, you was right about him. I was like, I told y'all, he can make every pass, even on his back foot. Even when he's rolling, he's making every single pass that you want down the field. It makes sense, and he's did those things on the road.
And why not get a jump start with, you're going to have some new pieces in front of you next year for sure, but you're going to have some of the weapons still around you. Mm-hmm. Why not continue to build that relationship and that chemistry with the weapons you have, and then maybe get some more with, the increased salary cap next year?
Let's go to the phones. 615-737-1045. Steve is in Tampa first up. Good morning, Steve.
Hey, guys. Love the show down here on business. I'm a Nashville guy. But so I got the scenario, man. Mr. Kraft is the great evil eye, and he's going to bring all the armies together to try to take over the NFL and the evil ways. He's going to bring Vrabel back. He's going to keep Belichick as the GM. You'll see McDaniels back there. You'll see all the suspects back there. I think that's the ultimate plan, and I think Vrabel has had it with Tennessee. And I think Tennessee. I think Miss Amy is kind of starting to have some doubts about Mike. And if he decides to start Ryan, I think that's just fuel to the fire. I think he just feels like he's not as into it as he was. So I think, if I was traveling back from the future to report on what happened, I think that would be my report. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for letting me chat.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Old soothsayer Steve over there can see the future. Daggum, that's so Raven. Daggum, Madame Clarice. He can just look in and see that, Amy, I feel that looking into my crystal ball that
a vision.
Amy is getting tired of Mike's antics.
Hey, Steve is in Tampa soaking up some sun, man. That's all
Right?
that is.
I think it's easy too, guys, to know like when you're losing and that's the vibe. Like that's no one's gonna feel like they're in it, right? I mean, you're hearing it in his tone that it's a difficult season, coming off of last season even. I don't think that changes the way he is as a head coach in terms of competitiveness and that he wants to be here. I just think that this is the time it is. It's a losing time in this franchise.
There's no way Bill Belichick would give up being head coach to then be GM of the same franchise. I think there's going to be a breakup there between him and Kraft, just like there was a breakup between Brady and that organization.
Yeah.
And it will be rebuilt quickly, but it does feel like there is a big breakup coming between Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I can see that. Again, it's not very promising in New England right now, which is also, if Vrabel has a say in this trade speculation conversation that was written up by Ben Volen, then guess what? I'd much rather sit here in Nashville.
Well, and what I see happening, guys, is that for the Patriots, it's Vrabel or nothing. Like, this to me screams, we're putting this out there because if it's not Vrabel, then let's just stay with what we have. I think the head coach of the Patriots next season is either Bill Belichick, Gerard Mayo, or Mike Vrabel. It's got to be one of those three people. Are they willing and trusting enough in the former Vol, Gerard Mayo, who gets a ton of praise up there for being the kind of coach in waiting? Are they willing to give him the keys, or would they rather have Mike Vrabel come and run the thing with him? Because to me, this just screams, look, Vrabel's our dream scenario, but we're not going to settle for anything less than our dream scenario. And that's why this is coming out when it is.
I think it's hilarious on how they're operating. They're operating like they're a mob family or something. Only Patriots alum can actually be in that building with them. And maybe that Patriots way is what they've gotten away from in the last couple of years, post-Brady, and maybe they're trying to get back to it by bringing the like minds around. I'll say this, think it's a pipe dream that this conversation is real. It's going to be real. But when a guy like this, I guess, writes something up, unless he's just a hot take guy all the time, somebody initiated this conversation. That's kind of where I sit. And I believe that some front offices will put out little fires just to see if they can get somebody to bite on it.
So on Twitter, Tyler writes in, at Ramon Kayla Will, Vrabel has already made his mind up. He's trying to get fired so the Pats don't have to lose draft capital. The Hall of Fame stuff during the bye was to discuss it. He's known for playing chess, not checkers, and he's using this quarterback situation to get out of Tennessee.
Is that his agent? Knows everything.
Coming up.
Wow.
On X-Files.
We've now turned to skepticism.
There's a chance this happens if it's being put out there, but let's not get crazy.
Yeah, I don't want to get crazy.
It's easy to say all this, too, because both teams are losing. Both teams are in the same situation in terms of their season right now, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe the Titans in a little bit better situation. But it's like, okay, now what can we start talking about in terms of, hey, Vrabel could be going back.
Yeah.
Bill might be out.
Always going to be
the connections.
Oh, my.
I don't think he's going anywhere. Mike Vrabel's going to be here next year. But this is interesting.
It is. It makes for good conversation.
I think it's certainly something to consider. I mean, you have an option for 2 first-round picks, potentially, if that is the price. You always have to talk about that.
I just love the fact that the Patriots are going through it.
Oh, yeah, they're going through it all right.
They certainly are.
They don't even have a quarterback.
615-737-1045. We'll get to Ryan and Adam on the other side. Your phone calls on the Titans quarterback situation, and does your opinion on Mike Vrabel change if he goes back to Ryan Tannehill? More on that next on RKW. RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. 615-737-1045 is our number. Coming up in 15 minutes, we look at the college football weekend where Tennessee handled business going into a big week up in Columbia, Missouri this upcoming Saturday afternoon. But right now, we take your Titans calls on the phone line with us and begin with Ryan in Gallatin. Talking Mike Vrabel, Will Levis, and Ryan Tannehill this morning. Hey, Ryan.
Yeah, I love Vrabel, but you're not going to beat C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, 3 yards in a cloud of dust anymore. I'm a contractor, but it just looks different with Will Levis. Everybody can see that. I hope he's telling behind the scenes, you're the man, but I don't believe he is. And we need an offensive minded to develop him.
Appreciate the call. Thank you, Ryan.
Real quick, I will say Drake London, who is, obviously helping with the quarterback coach. Did I say Drake London?
Charles London.
Charles London.
Yeah.
God, here
Drake
we
London's
go again.
Atlanta.
Yes. Yeah. Good guy you'd want on your team.
Right, exactly.
Charles London has really done a good job helping develop Will Levis. There's been a lot of talk about that behind the scenes. He's somebody that Vrabel brought on staff this past year who could potentially end up being a head coach in the league at some point. So I will say there's pieces on the staff that are helping develop these quarterbacks.
It is. That offensive mind versus defensive mind, there's something there to it. Whether it be Tim Kelly moving forward or is it Charles London, whoever the case may be. I'm not sure if Charles London's head coach ready just yet. Maybe it is. But fascinating to see how all this would turn out.
Adam in Portland is next up on the phone line. Say, Adam.
Hey, bud. Hey, this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I think, number one, I mean, everybody around here hates the Patriots. If they don't, then they really should. But I've hated them forever, man. Like, I feel like they lived off one guy. Like, they're all cashing checks because of one guy. Even Belichick. I know everybody likes to talk about how good he is. So when I talk about this, like, good old boy system they got going on, it just makes me so mad because there are so many good coaches out there waiting for opportunity. And it's either Vrabel, which have him. I don't care. Take him. Like, you can have that guy. Like, pay us what y'all think he's worth, and then take him. And then we'll start our rookie, and we'll get somebody in here that believes in him and gets behind him because I'm ready to get behind him. If not, then let's set a Facebook post and take all our Titan stuff and burn it in a barrel and put it online. Like, that's how serious I am about it, man, because I'm not going back to what I've been feeling the last couple of years with this quarterback, man. This rookie, he showed me enough in 2 games, and I feel like you're sending the wrong message to him if you don't come out and get behind him right now. So if you want to go be a Patriot, go be a Patriot. I love this quarterback, and I'm going to stand behind him.
Appreciate the call, Adam.
Before you guys burn all your Titan stuff, we do have Toy Field coming up. So
There you
you
go.
can just donate all your unwanted or burnt Titans apparel and collectibles and memorabilia and donate to Toy Field.
We do just take
Yes.
toys at Toy Field.
And
So if you have Titans footballs,
They were mostly for me.
Oh,
sure.
I was going to sell on the second.
Mostly for the Ravens
Jeez,
fan in the
that's what
building.
it was.
Just let me know. I will make sure that the Titan stuff gets redistributed.
Of course you
I'm
will.
with you on that one, Bird. Yeah, there's a few places around the city that can take those Titan clothes before you. But that was a strong endorsement right there. It's about as
People
strong
are
as
fed
it get.
up, man.
Strong as it get right there.
Well, especially when the quarterback with the 4th best quarterback rating in the NFL is a rookie in your division in C.J. Stroud. How about this motley crew, by the way, of the top 5 quarterback passer ratings this season? Number 1 is Tua. Number 2 is Brock Purdy. Number 3 is Kirk Cousins. Number 4 is C.J. Stroud. And number 5, Russell Wilson. 5th best
Whoa.
quarterback rating in the NFL this year.
We got to find a new stat.
Patrick Mahomes is 11th.
Dang.
11th in quarterback rating.
Only thing I say about Russ is he's always coming from behind. So it's a matter of what he does in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
Mike
True
in
that.
Cleveland up next, 615-737-1045. What's up, Mike?
Hey, yo, what's goody?
What's up?
What's up?
Y'all, I know, man. Y'all making me angry in this driver's seat talking about the Patriots and what. I don't care what the Patriots want, okay? I don't care what they talking about. You know what I'm saying? I think it would be real asinine for Vrabel to hinder a team that he's going to be traded to by giving up 2 first-round draft picks, especially when there's a future sitting right here in Tennessee in his lap. Now, I don't really I'm cool if they start Tannehill, like I've been saying, but I will say this. If they start Tannehill, might as well say we waving the white flag and we playing for draft picks. Now, I don't think starting Tannehill over Levis is saying we're gonna wrap him in bubble wrap and we're gonna try to protect him. I think I'm looking at it like this. If Levis doesn't start the rest of the season, he'll be in there regardless because Tannehill ain't gonna be healthy enough to finish the season. But what that does is set Levis up for success in the future. He ain't going to have no success with this team. I think it's more of a way of looking at the team as a whole, and instead of just looking at it as, Levis is supposed to come in and save the season, because I don't think that he can with what he has around him. Now, as far as Vrabel and being traded to the Patriots and all that other stuff, I don't believe it. I think it's a dumb conversation, but I know y'all got to have a conversation because it's y'all's job. I get it. But I think it's a dumb conversation, and I think all it's going to do is make Vrabel look even worse than what he might look right now. So that's my 2 cents. Tighten up.
Oh, there it is.
Doses, much love.
There
Thank
it
you, Mike.
is.
Appreciate the call.
Got to get the horn.
Yeah, I was kind of getting sad.
Too
we didn't
good.
Get it.
No, gotta get the horn, Mike.
Halftime of the show up next. More of your phone calls on the other side. 615-737-1045. We can get into Tennessee's win over UConn, but we'll take more of your reaction on a topic that's certainly an interesting one. Does the Titans going back to Mike Vrabel change your opinion, going back to Ryan Tannehill, change your opinion on Mike Vrabel? Your thoughts as we continue into hour 3 coming up next.
Hey, we are now joined by our good friend, certified arborist Dean Glasscock. Arbor Art Tree and Shrub, now a Save a Tree company, Dean, and the winter months are almost here. And that means you guys also kicking it into high gear with winter pruning. Tell us more.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Good morning. What a gorgeous day, not a cloud in the sky. It's just going to be a great week, I hope, for everyone. In the meantime, if you have trees and shrubs around your home, don't forget us, Arbor Art, a Save a Tree company now, and it's 615-299-9999 for all your needs that way. But right now, is dormant pruning season is in full swing, so it's easier to evaluate your trees in the winter and be able to get that structure right and make sure it's safe in the event of an ice or snowstorm or whatever. So safety is a big deal. So make sure you give us a call if you want to, we at least want a chance to serve you. 615-299-9999. And again, Arbor Art Tree Care is now a Save a Tree company. We're super proud of that. And we're moving forward. So give us a call, 615-299-9999. Have a great week.
Thanks, Dean. They are as professional as they get, 29 years of experience. It's saveatree.com or call them 299-9999.
8 o'clock. Good morning. Happy Monday from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Despite looking rough on paper, the NFL slate delivered in Week 9. Texans win a barn burner against the Bucs, 39-37. C.J. Stroud set the new rookie record for passing yards in a game with 470, also tossing 5 touchdowns, including the final go-ahead touchdown to Tank Dell with just seconds remaining on the clock to win it. Texans are now 4-4 and play the 5-3 Bengals next week. Massive hat tip to Josh Dobbs over the weekend. He just got to Minnesota, didn't get to practice with any offensive players, but still led the Vikings to a victory when Jaron Hall was knocked out of the game. Vikings win 31-28. Dobbs finishes with 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdowns. The Vikings are now 5-4 and are in the final playoff spot in the NFC. And Sunday Night Football, the Bengals mauled the Bills 24-18. Burrow threw for 348 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bills' offense struggled to keep up with the Bengals' high-powered offense, with Josh Allen accounting for both touchdowns, but did not get the go-ahead opportunity after Stephon Diggs scored his octopus, scoring the touchdown and the 2-point conversion. Bengals are now 5-3, with every team in the AFC North currently positioned in the playoffs. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling, the best coffee in Nashville, keeping us caffeinated and opinionated on a Monday morning. 8th and Roast, locally owned and operated by lifelong friends turned business partners who design the local shops as a way to feel welcomed, connected, and part of a community. That community on 8th Avenue, Charlotte, the Broadview over here by Vanderbilt, and as well in the airport. 615-737-1045 in 15 minutes. John Glennon for the Nashville Post will join us. The 2 big questions for him: should the Titans go back to Ryan Tannehill, or will the Titans go back to Ryan Tannehill? And are those both the same answer?
Should or will, right, man? I know what this fan base wants.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll hear boos or nothing like that when it comes down to what,
I think you would.
You think you would?
I do.
What, if Ryan was out there?
Yeah, but it's an away game. It's an away game. Yeah, it's an away game this upcoming weekend. The chatter's going to be loud because everybody know what the ultimate plan is. And here's the thing. Maybe Ryan Tannehill needs to be put in the corner. What if you get the best play out of him if Vrabel does hold his integrity and it's like, hey, man, you're starting this week?
We still haven't even got the for sure that he is healthy and ready to go. We have not had Mike Vrabel say that yet. So it could be a situation where you at least have him out at practice taking reps, and then Vrabel makes the decision after that, even though he might already have the decision made, right? Because we haven't even seen Ryan back at practice.
No.
If they tried out Ryan Tannehill over a healthy Will Levis, all things that we know, I think you will absolutely hear him booed in Nissan Stadium. I don't think you should, but we're a long way from that. I mean, we've got a couple more weeks until the Titans are back at home, of course, since they're in the state of Florida for the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I think it's going to rise to that level.
Look at the quarterback roller coaster we've gone through this year. We're just at the halfway point, just past the halfway point. We've gone from Ryan Tannehill going to be a stud to where Malik is the savior of this franchise to Tannehill. I mean, goodness.
It's wild.
It is.
You can't write this stuff up.
Mr. Caples is next, 615-737-1045. Hey, Caples.
Just when I think it can't get no worse with Titans fans, y'all come back and show me that it can. I just can't believe the stuff I'm hearing today. Trade Rabel's trying to tank the season. Y'all are so fickle. It's crazy, man. If you're a fan of a team, it ain't going to be peaches and herb all the time. It's like a marriage. It's going to be up and down. You can't just jump ship because times get hard. So, first of all, I don't care if he starts Tannehill against the Bucks because Tannehill going to struggle just like he been playing all season, and you can yank him. Put him on a short leash, and you can yank him and put Will Levis in before we get back home. Levis going to be behind center eventually. It's going to come, whether he put Tannehill in or not. You know, I know he's a player's coach, and you don't want to, you know, lose your spot to injury, but that doesn't happen over the years many a time. So whoop-de-doo about it. It's going to happen, whether Tannehill start the next game or not. The way he been playing, guys, the way he been playing, is he going to stay back there? Nah, he going to get yanked. So it's really not going to matter. But y'all got to stop this mess, man. What other coach you going to have better than Mike Vrabel right now? Name me somebody. Who? You going to go get Josh McDaniels or something? Like, stop tripping, man. And then the whole Henry in a cloud of dust. What other option have we had other than Derrick Henry being the bell cow of this team? The general manager traded our best wide receiver. Mike Vrabel didn't do that. I'm going to just say this and leave it at that. If Mike Vrabel really wanted to tank the season like y'all say he is, he'd be starting Malik Willis. Think about that. Tighten up.
Thank you, Caples. Fair enough. That is true. Well, Malik Willis is the worst option the Titans have at quarterback. If you really wanted to lose, he would be starting games.
Yeah. We've had this conversation, too, about as far as getting like that top 10, top 5 pick year after year. Vrabel doesn't have the mentality to want to lose like that. Again, the people talking about his body language and expressions and stuff, that's just the spirit of competition. That's all that is.
Yeah, Vrabel he wants to win. That's his number one thing on his list. So if it's Levis is the best opportunity to, get a win, he's going to start him.
Will in the FNN Bank chat on YouTube says Jim Schwartz is a better coach. Head coach? Really?
Maybe coordinator. I don't know.
Some people are just better off being soldiers.
Jim Schwartz had one winning season in 5 years as the head coach of the Detroit Lions.
Let Josh McDaniels be a testament to some people being better soldiers than they are. You know what I'm saying? Captains.
Same with Matt Patricia.
Yeah, thank you, Will. Thank you.
Wesley up next, 615-737-1045. Hey, Wesley.
Hey, guys. Yeah, I agree with the previous caller as far as saying that, this is like a marriage, but however, you don't want your partner, being smug and whenever everyone is telling you that, oh, you're doing well and you go home, you don't want your partner telling you that, I don't think you did well, you did okay. And whenever Vrabel first came and coaching for the Titans, I thought that he was really going to be a coach. I think that he still is a good coach. But whenever he blamed Levis on that throw to Spears, that's when I was like, okay, well, he needs to really get out of his ways because that's not the way to go if you're trying to be the coach for the Titans. I really do believe that he is trying to win every single game. Vrabel is not the person to tank, but he needs to get out of his ways. Me personally, if he wants to be the coach of the Tennessee Titans.
Thank you, Wesley. Got to be honest, a little hard to understand what Wesley was saying with the connection, but I think getting out of Will Levis's way, I think, is the discussion.
Yeah. I think Wesley was at work right there trying to talk in his office.
Yeah, I think, look, fans are going to be frustrated if Vrabel decides to start Tannehill, but I will say if he does decide to start Tannehill, it'd be the fact that he is going to have a short leash, and that's being Ryan Tannehill. And Will Levis would be coming in right away for whatever mistake has happened, right?
No doubt.
Ryan could get hurt again. I don't wish that upon anybody, but you guys, that doesn't, just because his ankle he's off the scooter, and that doesn't mean he's going to be able to stand up for the rest of the season in terms of what's in front of him,
right,
and what's coming after him.
These are good problems to have.
Quickly, before we get to John Glennon on the other side, Ramon, the legend of the game in Knoxville over the weekend. Well, how was it?
It was fun, man. It was really cool. Did a meet and greet, man. I ended up getting a cutout. My boys got an opportunity. My wife was a part of it. She's walked this journey with me the entire time. It was really, 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 really cool, man. O-line don't really get that type of praise, but on homecoming weekend, that was solid. I thoroughly enjoyed my weekend, man.
Tennessee's 11th straight sellout in a 59-3 win over UConn. Joe Milton, 11 of 14 for 254 and 2 touchdowns. Nico Iamaleava, 5 for 9, 86 yards and a touchdown. The headline from this game is going to be, obviously, the 3 defensive touchdowns that hadn't happened in 25 years. And then Nico looking really comfortable out there.
Man, I had this basketball player say to me, goes by the name of Savage, Ron Slice.
That's Ron? Okay.
But I mess with him on that. He's a basketball player that knows football back and forth, man. It's phenomenal to see it. When Nico got in, Ron said this before Nico took off. He was like, man, in today's game, you got to have a quarterback that's capable of running, filling the pocket, and getting down the field to extend plays. And when Nico did that, Ron tapped me. Savage tapped me. It was like, hey, see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He was able to get out of the pocket, get upfield, and get down safely. That, to me, is what we've been wanting out of Joe Milton. I think we're seeing other teams have these type of players. Michael Penix Jr. I mean, so many players across the league are discovering if you don't have legs at quarterback, what are you as an offense anymore? Mm-hmm. And that was so taboo. Let's go back to the early 2000s when Vic was doing like, oh, no, he's going to get hurt. Now every quarterback does it. Every single quarterback does it, man. And watching Nico be decisive in that, whew.
Yeah, Nico is a specimen. Like, my goodness. First of all, like, he has everything you want in terms of trait of a quarterback. Yeah. He's tall. He can use his legs. I feel like he has a calmness part to him.
He does.
And I think it's the best thing. While fans want to see him this year, I think it's the best thing to have him sitting back, learning. Mm-hmm. And he got there early on top of it.
He did.
So I'm excited for next year. But, I mean, anytime you can see him play at this time of the year, like, it's exciting.
And I'm just glad the Vols were able to get up and let some of that young talent get on the field.
Yeah, it was not the case earlier this season against Austin Peay. I think for Nico, you're impressed by the things you can't teach with him. And his presence in the pocket is something that is very hard to put into a guy's head. He understands where pressure is coming from. He's elusive when there is someone's hands on him getting out of the pocket. I was just impressed by the way he threw on the run and understood where he functioned in relative to pass rushers coming after him. I thought it was solid. I wanted to see more, though.
I did so.
Only 2 series. I understand that he's your only other scholarship quarterback, and his health is important, considering you'd have to put in Gaston Moore or Navy Schuler if Joe Milton and Nico got hurt. But I don't know. To me, it's not like you're burning his red shirt by playing him 4 series instead of 2.
Right.
I would have liked to see him for 2 more series and then go to the next guy. But I thought it was a good day. Good day for Tennessee, not a good day for Jim Mora, who was
I know
a little pressed after the game.
It was your players that started it before the game.
Warming up on Tennessee's side of the field, and afterwards says, I'm proud of the way our guys behaved before, during, and after the game. I don't know if you can be proud of anything that happened in a UConn uniform.
The Heupel smirk laugh at him at the end.
They had a very short handshake, and Heupel just turned around and smiled at him. What a weird beef to have. The only beef between Tennessee and UConn is in women's basketball. There needs to be nothing in football.
Long live Pat, baby.
It's weird. Coming up next, John Glennon, Nashville Post, will join us. His thoughts on the Will Levis, Ryan Tannehill, and Mike Vrabel discussion, and whether or not a New England trade for Vrabel is even remotely a possibility. That's next with John Glennon on RKW.
Hey there, the future of joint pain relief is here. It is QC Kinetics, Advanced Regenerative Medicine, and this is amazing stuff, guys. It is Kayla Anderson, and you might be heard steroid surgery, your only option when it comes to joint pain and moving through life well. Well, don't be so fast. Get in a second opinion. Learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. So maybe you're dealing with that right now as we head into the winter months and you want to still be able to move around with your family, do things, go to games. You're feeling that joint pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulder, your back. Do this. QC Kinetics. Instead of having to use drugs or needing to worry about downtime or surgery. Listen, life is all about motion, and QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all natural treatments. So make sure to give them a call for a free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now. It's 615-249-4024, 615-249-4024.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone as we talk Titans this morning. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling with you. And joining us on the phone lines covering the Titans, Preds, and more for the Nashville Post, he is John Glennon on Twitter at Glennon Sports. What's up, John? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you all this morning?
Good.
Good morning.
We are great, John, and we'll start with the question on everyone's minds covering and talking about the Titans right now. Is there a reason for the Titans to go back to Ryan Tannehill when healthy instead of Will Levis?
I don't think there are enough reasons to go back to Ryan Tannehill. You know, I think you could make the argument. You could say, okay, Ryan Tannehill, we know what we have in him, and there's a known quantity there. He's won some big games for the Titans. He's had plenty of accomplishments with the Titans as well. So, that I think is your argument for Ryan Tannehill. Hey, this is the present. If we think we're, contenders, maybe we stick with what we have in a known quantity. The downside, I think, of going back to Ryan Tannehill, recently, obviously, the numbers have not been as good as what they were in the past. I think also you have to be concerned about reliability health-wise now, too. I mean, that's 3, ankle injuries we've seen from him in the past, season or so. I think he's missed 7 of the last 19 games. And really, I just think, there are more positives, more arguments to be made for Will Levis. I think we know Will Levis is looking like the quarterback of the future at this point, whereas Ryan Tannehill is likely gone next year after his contract expires. Will Levis came out and gave the offense a spark, a surge. It looks like he can bring something to the offense in terms of verticality, in terms of the big chunk plays. And the moment doesn't look too big for Will Levis either, even though he's a rookie. You look back at last year when they put Malik Willis in the game, I think at that point, and maybe understandably so given his background, the moment was still too big for Malik Willis. That doesn't seem to be the case for Will Levis. So I don't think you're hurting his progression by dropping him in the starting lineup here halfway through his rookie season. So, again, you can make an argument for Ryan Tannehill. I think there are more to be made for going with Will Levis.
And, John, at this point, what do you make of Mike Vrabel's public comments about this and the gamesmanship, talking about Will Levis missing a throw to Tyjae Spears in the red zone that I think many of us thought might have just been on Tyjae Spears turning around on the 2-yard line? What is your gut feeling at this point on whether or not Mike Vrabel will go back to Ryan Tannehill?
Yeah, he has not been, a very, very readable book on that. That's for sure. I think part of that, in general, of course, we know Mike Vrabel and most football coaches, aren't going to go head over heels in praise of any single player. And then, when you move to the fact that this is a rookie, Mike Vrabel does not very often praise rookies highly. That's just, what he does. That's his school of thought. So I think some of that plays into the lack of gushing praise for Will Levis so far as well. I was a little bit surprised. I certainly can think of of two schools of thought in terms of that Tyjae Spears play. Sure, the throw could have been a little bit better, but I think if Tyjae Spears makes the kind of play most of us think he could, being the athlete that he is, I think that's a completed pass, and I think that's a touchdown. So I don't immediately point the finger at Will Levis there. I think, maybe on a couple of those longer throws, in the most recent game against Pittsburgh, I think maybe there were some options that he could have checked down. Maybe there were some guys that were open, move the sticks, get a key first down instead of hitting or trying to hit the long ball. I think on that 4th and 4 play was a good example of that. But other than that, I don't think there's too much to critique about Will Levis. It's tough to read Mike Vrabel right now, but I honestly think, if Mike Vrabel is true to saying, what's good for the football team is what we're going to do, I think Will Levis right now gives them more of a spark and gives them more in the vertical passing game than Ryan Tannehill does at present.
Glennon, excuse me, Glennon, when you look at this team, too, just reflecting on last week and just some of the questions we've really had about the defense, if we can be real, I think the optimism of what Will Levis has provided the last 2 weeks make you want to stick with him. But you also look at last weekend or last Thursday. You had Pittsburgh run for 160 on the ground. This Titans defense got no sacks or got to the quarterback. Do we need to be raising our eyebrows a little bit more about the, efficiency of this defense?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Sure, you could say the bottom line is they gave up, only 20 points to Pittsburgh, but still you can't gloss over the fact that, to me, the biggest shocker is this almost overnight change in the run defense that we've seen for the past month. They went from, 10 straight games, they didn't give up over 100 yards rushing to a single team. 4 games in a row, they've now given up over 100 yards rushing, and not necessarily like 101 yards either. We're talking 130, 140, 160. I think even against the Colts was 190 or so. So it's a little baffling there that the change in the run defense. Some of that the first 2 games they were without Teair Tart. I thought that might make a somewhat of a difference when he returned. Hasn't made a huge difference in the run defense so far. I'm sure Kevin Byard's departure for the last 2 games, he was part of that run defense as well. That's hurt. But that is the biggest surprise. And then we've just seen, these continual issues with the against the pass, and that involves both the pass rush. I think there was a feeling after the Atlanta game, when they had the 6 sacks, that, hey, okay, maybe the pass rush has found something here. Maybe they're back on track. But then you break it down a little bit more. That game really now looks like the outlier because in the 3 of the last 4 games, they've barely touched the quarterback. And you look at the fact that Atlanta's Desmond Ridder, is a young guy, holds the ball for quite some time, and you think, okay, maybe that played into it. So you're still concerned about the pass rush, and certainly the secondary has had its issues as well. Not as many explosive plays, of late, but yeah, I think certainly there's some defensive issues. We shouldn't be entirely focused on the quarterback situation at all.
And I guess the other side of this too, man, is this team built down this stretch to have 5 of their games be AFC South teams to kind of win this division, get in first or second place as they kind of battle up out of this thing, because it's not an easy road, especially with what's going on in Houston. And you got to go to Miami. And you also have to play the Jags team, who's number 1 in your division right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a struggle, for the Titans. It's not like they're being overwhelmed every weekend, but at the same time, you look at it, it's a 3-5 team. It's a team that more often than not has found ways to lose close games instead of win close games. They're 14th in a 16-team conference right now, and 3 of the teams that are in the playoff picture they've already lost to. So it's going to be a real uphill battle for this team to make the playoffs, and that's why I think we kind of come full circle maybe on the Will Levis front too. If your odds really aren't looking too good in terms of this year, why not start making plans a little bit more for the future? And obviously I think Will Levis is the quarterback of the future. That's yet another reason for me to say, okay, let's get our guy in there, as long as it's not, hurting him starting now, as long as it's not going to slow his progress, get him in there, make things a little bit more looking towards the future. And that's why I think, we're going back a week or 2 now, but I still think at the trade deadline, they should have been more active as well. I think more veterans should have gone, and they should have taken that opportunity to get some more draft capital as well. But that ship has sailed. We've already passed the deadline now.
John Glennon joining us now this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. When Vrabel spoke last Friday after that Thursday loss, Glennon, I also kind of heard in his voice and the way that he alluded to the fact that there might be some other positions on this team that he's evaluating. Did you catch that? And if so, maybe who might we see different defensively or offensively? Because I feel like a lot of this is going back to the drawing board
It certainly could. I mean, everything has to be evaluated anytime you're 3-5. And especially if you've got a couple extra days, as was the case with the Titans coming off a Thursday game now. Maybe you get a little bit more time to look at things, and maybe again, obviously the offensive line. Certainly there have been plenty of questions raised there. And do you continue? Maybe, for instance, it looks as if. Andre Dillard's struggles have not, slipped at all. Andre Dillard, was playing a lot with Nicholas Petit-Frere out the last game. Is it time? Do they give somebody else a shot at that tackle spot? Again, this is if Nicholas Petit-Frere doesn't return, and certainly he didn't in the Pittsburgh game. But instead of going with Dillard at left tackle and Hubbard at right tackle, is it time to give Dylan Radins a shot at tackle? They've been reluctant to do that. He's been much more guard than tackle over the last 2 years. Do you maybe give him a shot there? Do you even take that step of maybe saying, hey, Peter Skoronski, we know you were an All-American tackle. Maybe we give you a shot out there at tackle here on the pro level as well. I kind of doubt that, because he's been a guard the entire season. But those are the kind of decisions I think that Mike Vrabel is probably evaluating and deciding upon, leading up to the next game here.
Treylon Burks, obviously a scary situation for him on Thursday. Good to hear that he's doing better. He's in concussion protocol, as Mike Vrabel said. However, John, this is a situation where you have a first-round pick who you traded away a guy in A.J. Brown for, and who has just not been able to stay healthy, whether it's his fault or not, John. In some way, do you start to think this might not be the guy that you can depend on to be a 1 or 2?
I think you certainly have to wonder. Yeah, and as you say, you can't point the finger at Treylon Burks and say it's your fault. You're getting hurt. He's taken some pretty wicked hits. But at the same time, some guys just seem to get hurt more than others do, and that has been the case so far for Treylon Burks. He can't seem to really be in the lineup long enough to get real traction, to get in a real rhythm with whoever is the starting quarterback. I think everyone had a lot of high expectations this year for Treylon, after a very strong offseason, a very good training camp, and almost immediately the injury started again. So, yeah, we're a year and a half in now on Treylon Burks, and the production, just hasn't been there. So I think certainly the questions have to be raised. Is the talent there? I would argue that the talent is still there, and there's still the possibility if he can just get traction, if he can stay in there long enough in terms of practices, getting the reps, in terms of games, getting the necessary snaps, and kind of ramping himself back up. I still think there is the talent and the skill there, but we just haven't seen it so far, not on a regular basis, that's for sure.
John Glennon at Glennon Sports, our guest this morning here on RKW. John, when you talk about Will Levis and just his specific characteristics that this Titans team likes, you've seen a number of rookie quarterbacks and young quarterbacks try to make a name for themselves here in Nashville. What makes Will Levis different or unique from past guys who have tried and failed to be the franchise quarterback here?
Yeah, what I like about Will Levis so far is first of all, for a rookie, everything has run so cleanly and so efficiently. We're not seeing the crazy last-second timeouts, to avoid a delay game. We're not seeing confusion in the huddle. We're not seeing too many instances really of the quarterback and the wide receiver on different pages. He seems like he is extremely well prepared for games. I think that's the starter. And, two, I think a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of rookie quarterbacks come in and maybe their tendency is to be a little too cautious, a little too conservative. They're afraid of making mistakes. That's not the case for Will Levis. That is for sure. He is definitely willing to take some shots, to take some chances. I think we saw how that paid off, in his first game there against Atlanta. Now, are there some times he's going to have to dial it back, rein it in just a little bit, and not go for broke quite as often? I think probably so. And as I say, I think there were probably a couple of times in that Pittsburgh game that maybe he could have checked down instead of throwing the long ball and moved the sticks instead. But those are the reasons. I think, the explosive capability, the big chunk plays, even against Pittsburgh, we didn't have the long touchdown passes, but still, when you look at the stats, 7 completions of 20 yards or more, those are kinds of things, you don't necessarily see with rookies on a regular basis. And I like that confidence that he has. Does it need to be, as I say, maybe shaped and molded a little bit? Maybe not take quite as many downfield shots, probably so. But I like I like a lot of the upside that we have seen in Will Levis so far.
John Glennon has been our guest this morning on RKW at Glennon Sports, where you can find him on the artist formerly known as Twitter. John, great stuff as always, sir. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Joe.
Yes, sir. There's John Glennon, Nashville Post, covering everything Nashville sports that you need in your life.
Glennon's so savvy. I like Glennon, man.
He's the best.
Super cool dude.
Oh, yeah. That's the other thing, too, is that if you've covered this team for more than 5 years, more than just a cup of coffee, you've seen a couple of rookie quarterbacks, even just within those 5 years, try to make a name for themselves here and not be able to stick, including the guy who's third on your depth chart now, in Malik Willis. There are elements of Will Levis that he has already that we are not accustomed to in young quarterbacks. The confidence level, the arm strength, the arm talent. Marcus Mariota, even at his best, never had this kind of arm talent.
He also didn't have that savvy, personality, the
Exactly.
leadership qualities. He led in a different way.
Right. 615-737-1045. Completely agree. We'll get to Chris on the phone lines coming up next. Your thoughts on Mike Vrabel, Will Levis, Ryan Tannehill as we continue. It's been the topic of the morning. Maybe a look around the college football headlines as well coming up next.
All right, a little Sheryl Crow there. I like it. This is Kayla Anderson for the Ingram Agency, local agency that was founded from the ground up in 2010 by Chris Ingram. He's got a team of fully licensed professionals that have created such a strong agency. They focus on serving the entire state of Tennessee. So let's say you need insurance. Maybe you're looking to switch up or get insurance for the first time. This is the company to work with. They specialize in a wide array of products, including everything from auto, home, life, commercial, even aviation. It's not your average insurance company either. The Ingram Agency, founded on passion for education and support of their clients, always helping to guide their clients comprehensively. So if you want a family-owned insurance company who actually cares about you, the customer, make sure to call the Ingram Agency. It's 615-206-8276. You can also log online to find out more at theingramagency.com. Rest easy with the Ingram Agency.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. Coming up in 15 minutes on day one of college basketball, Belmont head coach Casey Alexander will join the show. Bruins opening up the regular season with Georgia State tonight at the Curb Event Center. Looking forward to that. And then Jalil Anibaba at 9:20 talks Nashville SC and Orlando City with us. In the meantime, your phone calls of the Titans at 615-737-1045. Or Chris is in Hermitage up next. Hey, Chris.
Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
We got you.
Hey, awesome. Thank you for taking my call. As far as the whole quarterback decision thing goes, I'm with y'all. I think Levis should obviously be the starter at this point for a multitude of reasons. He obviously elevates the offense in a way that Tannehill could not, and he obviously needs reps to continue to develop. And the fact of the matter is the Titans are indeed playing for the future, whoever wants to realize it or not. But I do understand, too, Vrabel's hesitance in making that decision, at least as soon as yesterday when he was in the press conference, because you all know, like, as much leadership and confidence as you need from a position like quarterback on a team, if you choose to pull your starter and bench him and play another guy, it has an impact on the locker room. There's no way around it. And then if you make that decision and you go with Levis now, obviously he starts to do all the things I just mentioned. But then we've seen from Levis, too, he does have a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde in him, so to speak. You know, we've seen it at Kentucky. You know, he's playing well now. But if he goes out there as a starter and he has a couple of bad games, bad turnovers, and strings together some losses, people start to ask the question if we need to go back to Ryan Tannehill, and then you start playing a flip-flop game that just detriments the morale of the team even further if Vrabel made that decision. And so I can totally understand his hesitancy to announce Levis as a starter right now, but I think he's going to. But I think he's just going to take as much time as he needs to this week, maybe all the way down to Thursday or Friday, which is wise on his decision, you know, obviously him being an experienced head coach. Then beyond that, I think Vrabel is the right coach for the team going forward. My only concern is that if we do move in a rebuild mode and let Levis get out there and stick with him through the ups and the downs, you know, with the losses and such, if they were to happen, that the people start to ask the question if Vrabel is the right coach for him going forward in his development. And then you've seen it happen several times in the National Football League where people will be like, oh, we need to go and get an offensive-minded, young, one of these young coordinators like a Kellen Moore in L.A. or something to come in and be the best fit for developing Levis going forward and moving on from Vrabel and, like, taking him out the pasture, so to speak. But those are my thoughts, man. I appreciate y'all taking my call. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate the call.
Thorough, Chris. Very thorough.
I do think there's some truth to that because how many coaches have been moved elsewhere or let go because they didn't handle a staff decision or a quarterback decision correctly?
It happens. It does happen.
That's what makes this feel like a defining moment for the Mike Vrabel era in Tennessee. Mike Mularkey was let go because he wasn't willing to change his offensive coordinator under Terry Robisky.
Yeah. I've heard the conversation. This is the reason Mike Munchak was let go here, too, because of personnel changes that did or did not want to happen also. This does play a part in it sometimes. It does. And we're talking about one of the most premier positions ever also, too, with the quarterbacking here. One, I don't think that's been your homegrown guy. That's the thing about Tannehill. Is Tannehill's your guy. But he wasn't birthed here in Nashville. His career was, technically, as far as what he was capable of doing the last few years. But you actually have your guy that is your foundational piece that could be in Will Levis moving forward. And you're paid sometimes as a coach, whether that be personnel and staff changes, or whether it be decision-making with your players to make those hard decisions.
He brought up the locker room. This is just my sense. So I think that when you have a situation where a lot of these players are new to this Titans team, there was a lot of roster moves in the offseason, right? This isn't technically like everybody's quarterback, right? With Ryan Tannehill. I feel like more so guys are kind of behind having somebody fresh out there like Will Levis. You heard it from Jeffrey Simmons on the sideline when he was mic'd up and Arden Key arguing who said he was the quarterback first or he had it in him, right? So I don't think it would divide the locker room as much as people might think in terms of going with Will Levis. I actually think it might spark it more.
And at the beginning of the season, you could make the argument that a lot of the locker room was in support of Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I mean, it's totally fair that I do think that locker room is going to start following the guy that's delivering passes 40 yards down the field.
Yep.
Guys, just with me and talking about the gamesmanship thing and Friday and just the way Vrabel spoke to the media, That shtick gets so old to me when you're not winning. Right?
Yeah. I feel you on that.
The arrogance gets so old so quickly in the way Mike continues to belittle media. He can do whatever he wants. He's an adult. He doesn't know us much, right? Ultimately, we're thankful just for access as media members, and you can't put the cart before the horse, so to speak. But I don't know. It's just that shtick of the I'm smarter than you, and I'm going to figure out quarterback, and, well, no, I'm not going to name a starter yet because I don't have to. Just realize your surroundings a little bit, Mike. I don't think you can be that comfortable and that just seemingly arrogant right now when you're not winning football games.
I've heard that time and time again.
Maybe I'm being too harsh, but I really don't think I am.
This is what the fans are saying. So I'll say that. I've seen it all over the place. That's what fans are saying.
Got to play better, got to coach better. Gets really old when you're hearing it almost every week.
Kayla, he should be a little bit more open in these moments considering where they are as a team?
Mike Vrabel is who he is, and I've learned that quickly. He's not going to change for many people, just like he's loyal to his staff, and, we've seen that as well. I don't think he's going to change. It's like the way that Mike Tomlin is. Has he ever changed as a coach, even when they're maybe losing?
No.
I just don't see that happening.
Coming up next, Belmont head coach Casey Alexander joins us. Belmont and Georgia State tonight in the Curb Event Center. Talk with him about that, what the opening of a new season looks like for a roster that has a whole lot of turnover this year at the Curb Event Center. Plus, your chance for a couple more Nashville SC tickets. Got another family 4-pack to give away for Nashville SC and Orlando City SC tomorrow night at Geodis Park. Give you the details on that coming up next.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last store-wide sale of the year is coming. November 17th, 18th, and 19th, okay? Next Friday through Sunday. It's an extraordinary event with savings up to 20, 25, up to 35% store-wide. This is the event people will wait all year for. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day sale, okay? Acclaimed designers from New York and California will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. It's like the biggest jewelry trunk show you've ever seen, times 10. Check out all the new collections through the latest styles in both fashion and bridal jewelry. Plus, get 0% interest financing so you can spread your payments out. Don't miss the year's best jewelry event, the one where they break all the rules. And yes, Genesis luxury pre-owned Rolexes are included in this as well. Check out their hard-to-find Rolex models and get special pricing for this event. Lab-grown diamonds also included in this event. It's the final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamonds, 3 days only, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, only at Genesis Diamonds, my jewelry store, of course, located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
9 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. You know those friends that say, oh, we got a real stinker full of games this weekend. You go back to that friend and you tell them, did you watch any of these games? Because Week 9 delivered. Texans win a barn burner against the Bucs, 39-37. C.J. Stroud set a new rookie record for most passing yards in a game with 470. Also threw 5 touchdowns, including the final go-ahead touchdown to Tank Dell with just seconds left on the clock to win it. Texans moved to 4-4. They play the 5-3 Bengals next week. Massive hat tip to Josh Dobbs. Just got to Minnesota. Hadn't practiced with any offensive players. Didn't even know their names, but still led the Vikings to a victory when Jaron Hall was knocked out of the game. Vikings win at 31-28. Dobbs finished with 2 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing. Vikings are 5-4 and now in the final playoff spot in the NFC. And Sunday Night Football, Bengals mauled the Bills 24-18. Burrow threw for 348 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bills offense struggled to keep up. Josh Allen scoring the 1 spot below touchdown, but didn't get the opportunity to go for the go-ahead. Stephon Diggs with the octopus scoring the touchdown and the 2-point conversion, but it was not enough as Bengals ran the clock out. Bengals are now 5-3 with every team in the AFC North currently positioned in the playoffs. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone for 60 more minutes, kicking off your Monday morning. We've got Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling, talking a little bit of college hoops on a Monday morning where college basketball is back. And it's back tonight in the Curb Event Center, a 6:30 tip-off between the Belmont Bruins taking on Georgia State. Joining us now, the head coach of Belmont basketball. He is Casey Alexander. Coach, what's going on? How are you?
What's up, guys? I'm great, and I appreciate you giving basketball season a little shout-out here today.
Absolutely. Excited to be in the building for this one and excited to watch some hoops. Coach, what is opening night like for you? What will today look like as you get ready for game number 1 this season?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, business as usual, but it's obviously an exciting time. I mean, we've practiced way too much since the summer. Been ready for this moment for quite a while, and so really excited about it and see where we are. A long way from a finished product, but you got to start somewhere, right?
Absolutely. And you got a lot of players back who played meaningful minutes last year, but a lot of turnover, Coach, for the second straight season for you guys, and 2 players older than sophomores. How is this team different or unique, in your opinion, to past groups that you've had?
Yeah, that part's concerning. I think we have a lot of really good young players, but it's never a good time to be so young, especially in the COVID era where there's still a lot of old guys around using COVID eligibility. So that's what remains to be seen, honestly, is just kind of what kind of leadership do we have. Belmont's been fortunate for a long time to have a lot of 4th and 5th year guys hanging around that know what it takes to win, and we're missing that piece. But I do like our team. You know, we've graduated 10 guys in the last 2 years, and you only get 13 scholarships. So you sprinkle in a transfer portal guy or 2, and we've had a lot of turnover, uncustomary for us.
Casey, this is your second year you're entering into, obviously, the Missouri Valley Conference. What do you take from last year's inaugural season? What you can kind of, feel a little more comfortable now with the conference?
Yeah, so much more prepared. There were so many unknowns last year. When you combine the roster overhaul with a new league, man, we had a lot to try to figure out. But we are. I think we're better positioned. I think we have confidence, that we can be a player in this league. It's a great league, though. I mean, I was really excited about it and had great respect and anticipation this time last year, but even more so now. I mean, it's a fun league. It's a basketball purist conference, and we're really lucky and happy to be a part of it.
Casey, I was scrolling through the schedule, and obviously Arizona popped out to me, covering that team over there in Tucson for 3 years. That's a crazy environment at the McHale Center. What do you learn usually from your guys that early on when you have to go to such a hostile environment?
Yeah, it'll be a great experience. You know, you want to give your guys an opportunity to play in games like that. We always have. COVID's kind of been disruptive to those plans the last few years, but an excited time. I mean, Arizona, by any measure, is a top 25 team, and a lot of people predict them to be in the top 10, and great place to play. A lot of tradition there. So, you know, we'll see where we stack up pretty quickly. It's the kind of team that, you know, we hope to play in the NCAA tournament and see where we are.
Coach, the pride that you have, of course, and also what it means to have a guy drafted in the first round of Ben Shepherd. One, how do you replace his production? But two, what does it mean for you guys' program and for the guys that's coming behind him and to what that looks like?
Yeah, well, let's give Ben the credit he deserves. First of all, tremendous career for us, great senior season, and then an unbelievable postseason that put him in position to be drafted. You know, that's our second first-round pick in the last 5 years, and only I think two other schools maybe that are not Power 5 conferences can say that. So that says a lot about Belmont. It says a lot to potential recruits that you can come to Belmont and achieve everything you want to achieve. You know, what I love most about Ben and then Dylan Windler, who was a number one pick in 2019, is both of those guys were 4-year players that just got better over time. A real model for what we want the college experience to look like.
Coach, and just that too, man. You took the words right out of my mouth too, as far as what I was about to say about you guys. But you guys are embodying everything that Nashville is too. You're right here in the city. You're able to recruit because of the city and because of your school, and because of your program, man. How have you guys done such a good job into really embodying what Nashville is and how you can, be it, like you said, in the Missouri Valley Conference, but also embrace the importance of what it means to represent this city and everything about it?
Yeah, I think it's the culmination of a lot of things coming together at the right time. I mean, and I don't think any of us are apologists for Nashville, and it's and what people are thinking about our city these days. It's an awesome place to live and be, and so we're really lucky to be able to recruit to this city. But we're also at a place that's in Belmont that's thriving, really sound financially. Buildings left and right, medical school just started taking applications, record enrollment for the 20-something straight year, so got a lot of things going to us, not to mention a winning history, which is really important from where I sit.
Hey, go off, Coach. What else you got for us, man?
I love it.
That's what I'm
Beautiful
telling folks.
facilities.
Yeah, like I rolled past your university one night. I was like, what is it? Oh, this is Belmont. Like, Coach, go off, man. The floor is yours, man. I know you done, but I love the fact that you took Nashville and made that a part of your school, not just with you guys, but the women's program, the baseball. Like, that's what you call doing it right with the resources that you have, man. I just had to give you the floor there, Coach.
Well, I appreciate it. We're lucky. We don't take it for granted. I can promise you that.
Coach, you mentioned something interesting, just talking about the experience and the age still in college basketball, where it does feel like COVID and the super seniors maybe had more of an impact on college hoops than any other sport, specifically at the Division I level. How long do you think we'll continue to see the impact of that? And does it feel like we're getting closer to being back to normal, so to speak, or will there ever really be a normal again in this sport?
I don't know if there'll ever be a normal, but we're closer to the end of COVID eligibility. There's anybody who played in the 2021 season gets that year back. And so this year's senior class, if they were freshmen then, can come back next year, and then that'll all be behind us. We got plenty of other things to worry about, but at least the COVID exemption is it will be over. I'll give you some perspective on that. Drake wins our league last year. They're an unbelievable team. Their starting five last year was older than 5 of the NBA teams' starting 5 last year.
Wow.
So quite a bit different. We've got some 18, 19-year-olds rolling out there with some 25 and 6-year-olds. It's a different game for sure.
Certainly is. Belmont head coach Casey Alexander with us this morning. Coach, Georgia State tonight, you guys played a classic with them last season. What stands out about them, and where will your team benefit the most from seeing them this early in the season?
Yeah, well, a lot of unknowns, of course, at this stage of the year. And honestly, as much as you try to worry about yourselves primarily throughout the season, you really have no choice for an opener. But we know plenty about their personnel. They will be extremely talented. They've got a lot of really good transfers that came in themselves. And so, and everybody's full of optimism in game one, So I would expect it to be a great night. I think we'll have a great crowd, and hopefully some listeners will decide to show up and join us as well. It's a fun experience in the Curb Event Center.
One thing to look out for your team this year, Coach, and I know you got to see it on the court, but just in terms of what you've been able to see personality-wise, identity-wise from this team in the offseason.
Well, I'll give you two things. One, I have a lot of concerns about our sideline reporter this year. We've got some issues there.
Fair enough.
That we've got to overcome. But if we can do that, I like our team, honestly. I mean, I am concerned about youth, but I really like we've got some talented guys across the lineup that can score it. So I think we'll have a lot of versatility, maybe that we didn't have last year. Ben carried us, and we're glad about that. But I think we have a few more weapons overall this season.
Coach, I'll earn my minutes, I promise. So looking forward to seeing you on the court tonight. Head coach Casey Alexander, the Belmont Bruins, 6:30 tonight, taking on Georgia State. Coach, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Coach.
All right, there's head coach Casey Alexander with us here for a couple minutes this morning.
If y'all didn't know,
No bad questions.
Will is doing the sideline for them during this year. So I'd question it too, heck.
It's true.
I'd question the heck out of it.
Oh, we went to the same high school. Come on, we got to stick together.
There you go.
All right, let's give away some more Nashville SC tickets here this morning. Big one tomorrow night against Orlando City SC in the Castle, a pivotal Game 2 for Nashville SC. Going for the gold in the Audi 2023 MLS Cup playoffs. And 104.5 The Zone's ticket window is now open thanks to Window Nation. Be caller number 5 right now to win a family 4-pack of tickets to see a must-win match for the boys in gold in Music City as Nashville SC takes on Orlando tomorrow night at Geodis Park. 615-737-1045. Caller number 5, that is right, a family 4-pack of tickets to head to see the Lions and the boys in gold. 615-737-1045.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, y'all. And it's getting colder quickly, and a lot of you are probably firing up or have fired up that heat for the first time this season, man. If your system is older and having lots of issue keeping your house warm already, it's probably time for a new HVAC replacement, okay? There's no better time to replace your system than right now. Hiller is having their biggest sale ever on select HVAC systems. Get up to $2,600 off a new system until November 15th. This is the biggest discount they've had in years. Also, Hiller work is backed by the Happy You'll Be of the Service is Free guarantee, and I've lived by that, and they've been to my house and done good work, and you know what? The service wasn't free because they guarantee you'll be happy, all right? Hiller offers convenient, quick online booking. Select the appointment time that works for you and get instant confirmation behind that. Hiller techs are also checked, background check and drug screen, and they'll make sure they leave your house better and cleaner than when they found it. If you need anything around your house, reach out to the folks I know at happyhiller.com and be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. We've got Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. And our broadcast partner, myself, Lucas Panzikas. Whenever you hear Nashville Soccer Club on 104.5 The Zone, joins us now. He is MLS veteran, Nashville SC brand ambassador, the most interesting man in the world. He is the one and only Jalil Anibaba joining us this morning. What's up, Jalil? How are you?
Yo, what's good, my bro? I'm doing well. How are you? I know I'm doing better than you this morning because Arsenal did not fare too well this weekend. So I know I'm coming in hot, but what's good? How are we living?
Jalil, we didn't really come on here. We didn't have you on here to come at our squad like this, okay? You talk about Will and Arsenal. You talk about me and Arsenal too, okay, Jalil? I just need you to understand. He got backing now, okay? And we will find you, is what I'm telling you. We will find you, Jalil.
It's all good. The thing is, you don't need to find me. You need to find who was ever in that VAR booth. That's who you need to find.
That's who you need to find. Jalil speaking facts this morning, even the ones I don't want to hear. All right, Jalil, for the Nashville sports fan that has not yet seen Nashville SC, and for the soccer fan alike, they've got this in common, that they've got an opportunity tomorrow night to see the first home playoff game in the brief history of Geodis Park. What can fans expect tomorrow night? Game 2 in a best-of-3 series as Nashville SC takes on Orlando City.
Well, first of all, if you haven't seen the boys in gold play, especially at home, and you live in Nashville, you're asleep. Got to wake up. Playoffs are live here in Tennessee. And what you can expect from this matchup is everything that a do-or-die match has. It should have aggression. It should have a chippy nature because the rivalry between these two clubs dates back to 2020, and it's hot and heavy still. I would imagine that Nashville comes out very aggressive because they need goals, and they can't afford to lose this one. So come out and support the city.
And you mentioned that too, and just the aggressiveness NSC has to show tomorrow. Best-of-3 series, and oftentimes in soccer and previously in MLS, you might carry over the score from game 1. That's not the case in this one. How does that affect the strategy, just the mentality for both of these teams, knowing that one goal either way might cause the other to be more aggressive than maybe you would typically see in a regular season or in a different postseason match?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is that, statistically speaking, between these two teams, whoever is winning at halftime is going to win the game. Both Orlando and Nashville are undefeated when they're winning at halftime. So I would like to think that it's the race to the first goal. But strategically speaking, I would say that Nashville is going to want to go after the game more and set the tone, not only because they're at home, but because they fell short in the first leg. Orlando can afford to be a little bit more cagey and hedge their bets as it goes into penalty kicks. So I would think Nashville is going to be the aggressor, and then I could see a situation where Orlando plays a little rope-a-dope Muhammad Ali versus Foreman.
Jalil, when you look at this game and it's the playoffs, right, and everything intensifies whenever you hit the postseason, what does Nashville SC have to do tonight in order to really squeeze out a win here at home?
Yeah, I just think they need to play their game. I think if they remain true to who they've been over 4 seasons, especially at home, I don't see any problems for them. I think they'll be fine. The home crowd will be behind them. Their record at home is prolific, and if they just rely on that, which I have all the confidence in the world that they will do, I don't see any scenario where they don't force a third.
And when that boils down right there, how do you really look at the effect of what this crowd can be? Because we saw what it looked like in Miami when Messi comes into town. Will it have to be that type of environment, that type of effort to be able to pull out a dub in the playoffs? Because, again, the differences between the regular season and the post is always going to be a significant change. And guys that have been playing roles, maybe actually step up a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with the last point for sure that guys that have been playing more passenger seat driving roles are going to step up tonight. The likes of the outside backs and Daniel Levis, Shaq Moore, I expect them to bomb up and down and maybe get an assist or two on tomorrow night. And then as far as, the overall atmosphere and what Nashville needs to bring, I think it's just natural. If you look at the playoff matchups that we've had, obviously they were in Nissan, but we played Orlando in 21, beat them at home. We played Miami in 2020 at home and beat them in the playoffs. The Boys in Gold are undefeated at home in the playoffs, and I don't expect that to change tomorrow night.
So this is actually Nashville SC's first ever MLS playoff game at Geodis Park. So that's what's really cool about this, right? Because you've obviously been to the playoffs, you've hosted in other situations in terms of facilities, but what have you been so impressed by ever since maybe moving to Geodis Park, just having that soccer-specific feel when it comes to this crowd? Have you seen it grown, and have you seen like the soccer knowledge grow?
I absolutely have seen the club grow in general, just incrementally each year. And as far as the fan base, Kayla, is concerned, yeah, I do think that the soccer knowledge has grown. I mean, you guys were about to fight me talking about Arsenal. So
true.
I mean,
always.
Yeah, throughout Nashville, the fan base is growing, and there's no reason why it wouldn't, because the club does very good things on a year-to-year basis. But this is a sports city. Nashville people, they love their sports. They love to support what is their own. And that's one of the most amazing things about this club, because very, very quickly this club has really woven itself within the community.
And how much does it help to have other kind of sports figures be involved? Because you've got Derrick Henry involved in some ownership. You've got the Antetokounmpo brothers involved. It's just kind of like you're pulling from everywhere, and it makes people interested.
Absolutely. I mean, you know how it goes. One of the most classic ways to advertise anyone is to get people that everybody admires and interested into something. So to have Derrick Henry a part of the ownership group, to have Giannis and company in terms of the Antetokounmpo brothers in on the leadership, the ownership as well. I think it just makes MLS and NSC synonymous with American sports and American greatness. So, I think culture building as far as soccer is concerned has just grown like rapid fire since I was a kid, and it's just amazing to see. I was watching MLS games in college stadiums or, college football stadiums, and it just wasn't anywhere near where it is now. And for Nashville to be able to have its own soccer specific stadium within its first 3 years, that's unprecedented waters. And that's why, this club is doing great things. And again, as far as the fixture come tomorrow night, I would expect everybody to be up for the challenge, because I know exactly what it's like to play in these games. It's fun as hell. And, as far as the rivalry is concerned, you should expect some chippiness, some yellow cards, and some grudge matches being shown out there on the pitch.
Nashville SC's Jalil Anibaba, our guest this morning here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Jalil, Nashville this season becomes one of 3 MLS expansion teams to make the postseason in each of their first 4 years. That is certainly much easier said than done. Just put that into perspective for us, if you will, on how difficult it is to create the kind of identity that Nashville SC has done in a short amount of time, and just historically within this league, how unprecedented that really is.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you're an expansion team, you're expected to lose. You just are. You're expected to put out a janky product and to kind of learn by trial and error. But that was not what we were all about when we started this thing in 2020, as far as MLS days are concerned. And how difficult it was, man, it's difficult. It's hard to put it into words, because our first season was really turned on its head by COVID, and we had to figure it out, had to go into the bubble, not being able to play in the bubble, to flipping that into our longest playoff run, getting into the conference semis. So I think this team and this organization is synonymous with rising up against any type of adverse situations. I think it comes with good leadership throughout the organization. Most importantly, from my perspective, it comes from having a good team. You can't do anything in professional sports unless your team is good. We've been built with a good roster from 2020 all the way up to 2023 now. And, like I was saying earlier, to Kayla's point, the the club has just incrementally grown, and that's what's expected of you as a professional organization. You always have to stay at that razor sharp edge in terms of being cutting edge, and I think Nashville's done a good job of that because of the fact that each and every year it's competitive, but most importantly, I think we don't really give up very many goals. We don't make it easy for teams to play against the side. So those are the types of characteristics that make this team, like you said, one of the three only to qualify for the playoffs in his first 4 seasons.
Jalil, on the way out, Hani Mukhtar is the only player in MLS history to have 15 goals and 10 assists in 3 different seasons. Obviously, the boys in gold know what they're going to get from him, and it's been really cool to watch him become a big figure in Nashville sports over these past couple of years. Outside of him, though, who's the X factor for you tomorrow night as Nashville at 8 o'clock tries to even this series against Orlando City?
Yeah, I think that it's there's a couple players that come to mind. The first one is Fafa Pico. When you talk about creating that offensive threat alongside of Hani Mukhtar, he's shown to be the most consistent at doing that throughout the course of the season. And it's not only just been with Nashville. He plays for the Haitian national team, and he's gone and represented his country this season and scored goals there as well. He's in really good form, and I would like to think that he has every opportunity to chip in alongside of Hani Mukhtar. Of course, the likes of Sam Suric, who's been scoring goals literally as soon as he came over from England. But what has always resonated with me, whether it's playing for Nashville or now broadcasting for the team and analyzing the team, it's honestly the unit. The unit is what makes Nashville unique. When you look at other teams around the league, there is the storyline of what single player or which couple of players are going to be the ones that make the difference. But with Nashville, like I said earlier, their unique characteristic is the fact that they're extremely difficult to break down, and that's not a responsibility of just the defenders. It's everybody from Sam Suric, Hani Mukhtar, all the way back to Joe Willis or whoever's in net. So I think the combination of Hani balling out, whoever else is chipping in, but overall the team balling out is what's going to get Nashville what they need.
He is Jalil Anibaba on the call tomorrow night with our guy Lucas Panzica. 7:30 pregame, 8 o'clock kick right here on the Zone. Jalil, we're looking forward to listening. Thank you, sir.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, there he is. Jalil Anibaba with us this morning here on the show, making us a little bit smarter about NSC and Orlando. Guys, I can tell you from firsthand experience, I think this is the biggest rival Nashville SC has on the field in its MLS existence. Fan rivalries, Cincinnati, Atlanta, geographically there are other ones. This one on the field has been as fun of a rivalry as any series that Nashville has had, and Nashville has had the upper hand for the majority of that series as well. So I think tomorrow night's going to be really fun.
Yeah, sounds like hopefully people get their tickets. Tickets still available. Go and support the boys in gold.
In a game like this where it's a rivalry, do the referees allow a little bit more? Again, I always felt like you can get away with certain things during the season. Well, during the playoffs,
Postseason.
Postseason. Is that going to be the case coming up soon?
It's interesting. Depends on the crew specifically that you get.
Okay.
I thought the first game was called pretty well between Nashville and Orlando, and I think you have to just set the tone early on what is going to be allowed and then stick with it. That is the difficult part with the sport, right? Is that sometimes you get referees who will go in at halftime like any other sport and decide, let's tighten this up a little bit and change the conversation around the players. We did see a little bit more allowed in terms of some of the hard challenges and tackles and, contentious moments in game one. So hopefully that continues into game two, but we'll see.
Yeah. Very fascinating.
Let's go to Lucas in Murfreesboro up next, 615-737-1045. What's up, Lucas?
Hey, everybody. I want to preface this by saying gamble within your limits, know your limits.
Okay.
Last week, I listened on Friday morning, and I took all of y'all's bets, picked 5 of the ones I want. Troy -4 win, Kentucky -4 win, Raiders -1.5 win, Iowa Northwestern under win, Wake Duke with a push, so it's a win when you're gambling. So hell of a job, people. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Come on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas.
Liked all those.
Woo!
Lucas, I didn't hear not a single one of my damn picks. I heard exactly what you had to say right there, Lucas. Not a single one of them was my picks, man. I don't know how I feel about that, man.
Hey, we got to give you some props,
You had
man.
2 out of 3.
You did good. You got 2 out of 3.
2 and 3 is good.
Yeah.
We're not even blessed in your heart here. 2 and 3 is good. You just had Giants plus 1.5. You're on the wrong side of that one with us.
Dog.
Who? God, I can't even remember what his other bets were.
Cleveland minus 7.5.
No, there was
I
there was
loved that
another
one.
one. There was another one.
And Baltimore minus 5.5.
Oh, you
there
couldn't.
it is.
You didn't even remember that one.
Did that sting a little bit?
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
Because he got it right.
I got it right.
Winning
Thank you.
tastes good, don't
That's crazy, Lucas, that you would call in and drop all those picks off the top of your head, Lucas, and didn't throw in one of mine. You could have actually added a little bit more coin to it had you picked that Baltimore-Seattle. You know what? I win anyway, baby. I can't believe this.
I didn't even share my Arizona plus 2 pick.
Dogs, your boy.
Your Cougs sold on me.
Yeah,
Why the hell
dude,
couldn't they score?
Don't even get me going on that
Oh,
because that'll
don't get
take
me
a whole
going.
that'll take a whole show.
Oh, it was one of them
I'm
types?
not happy.
Oh, no.
The
It was
over
10
was
to
at
7.
60 and a half.
Awful.
Yeah, the over was at 60 and a
Awful.
half.
Arizona literally
was.
broke my Washington State Cougars.
They broke them.
They broke them.
So for the sake of accountability,
Took a sledgehammer.
the records we all have now, after 30 games, this is 10 weeks of the Thursday 3.
With a good weekend from me.
Robert and Kayla are tied at 19-11. I don't think
Right.
do y'all understand how good that is?
No.
That's very good.
No.
Yes, I'm trying to jinx you, but I'm also giving you the proper credit you
That's my
deserve.
dog.
That's incredible.
Oh boy.
Almost too good. I'm just kidding.
Almost like we're fudging the
Almost
book.
I know. I'm the one that has to keep score on all this. Maybe I should just give control of this to someone else. That way I can start turning things around. I did go 3-0 over the weekend.
Yeah,
though, as well.
Congratulations.
We all at least went 2-1. So I hope you all parlayed all of our picks together.
You care to say what my record is?
I will get there in a second. So Robert and
Okay.
Kayla tied at 19-11. I'm tabulating right now.
Okay.
Bad things happen when I do math. I am 14-16.
Okay.
Which is still
Again,
good.
Gaining
I'm
ground.
saying is good.
Which is still good.
I know. Close to 50%. I'm already
Why
laughing
you
looking at Ramon's
why
record.
you
Oh,
Because Ramon is looking at me with this face like, I'm going to be so much better now.
Come on, Will.
Ramon Foster, you are 9-21.
Those are 2 great years for me, though, Mom. That's not a
9
bad
and
thing.
I love 21.
What'd you just say, Bert? I heard you a second ago. What was 9-21? God.
But you went 2-1 this week, and you said,
2-1.
see, you got to
Progress.
start.
I went with what I know.
Yeah.
You and
I went with what I
you could
know.
maybe replace Stanford Steve whenever he moves on from
Oh,
game
he's
day because I don't
awful.
think he's been much better.
Has he not?
He's
No.
awful.
Replacing the Bear.
Yeah, 9-21. God, dog. AT and Berg and F and them bank chat. I see all the little laughing emojis. You too, D. I see all y'all. Lucas, I ain't forget about that call yet. I'm trying, people. Trying.
And again, that was a good weekend.
Oh, man.
See, if you would have bet a large bankroll on those 2 wins, hypothetically,
Sure.
you could have won
Could be
more
up.
on those 2 games than you did all the other 19 losses or 21 losses. Excuse me.
You just continue to pile on, huh, Bert?
I'm trying to make it better. This is like trying to make my girlfriend feel better. Like anything that I say makes me fall farther
Yeah.
down.
Okay.
It's okay, baby. It's not your fault you couldn't do it right.
Right.
Wow,
Yeah,
what am I saying? Come on.
I think Tim Berg is right on a lot of my bets.
Daniel Jones
too.
got hurt. It's okay.
Like
Right.
I'm betting with emotions. I am.
You are.
I am.
You bet against Dave Clawson,
I did.
Georgia, Florida, and Kentucky
I
like
sure
multiple
did.
times.
I sure did.
But-
And Georgia again, because I think Vandy covered last time. I mean,
But this last weekend, you did not bet with emotions because you
not.
bet.
You bet
You
4
bet in
Cleveland
favor of
and
the
4
Ravens.
Baltimore.
Exactly.
imagine that world.
So, Ramon, just take what you want to happen and then flip it, and you'll make a ton of money.
Exactly.
As my high school wrestling coach used to say, it's not your fault for not getting it done. It's my fault for believing it.
Yeah. There we go.
I hate you, man.
Dylan in the F&M Bank chat says, I'm seeing why they don't let NFL players bet.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Honestly, honestly, Ramon is just being an example to all the other offensive linemen who have not yet bet, who play for the Tennessee Titans, that, hey, do as I say, not as I do. Don't bet. Don't be like me and just stay out of this.
I'm also the example of saying having a whole lot of knowledge doesn't mean you should coach, okay? I'm the reasons why I'm anti-player coaches at time, okay? Yeah, so many lessons in this.
Of course, we make the jokes. The betting is an exercise on the show. Exercise.
Yeah, if we were actually exercising, I would not be in first. I would be in last.
21?
Not great, Bob. Not great. Coming up, we wrap up the show. College football headlines. How about Jaden Daniels in a losing effort, still maybe looking like the Heisman winner? Perhaps. A lot of good games to discuss from over the weekend. We'll do that coming up next.
Hey, it's Kayla Anderson for the Wang Vision Institute. Yeah, they do everything eyes, but do you know that they have just introduced intense pulse light treatments? Those are for the skin, actually. A non-invasive cosmetic procedure, highly effective, and it addresses various skin concerns. You can visit wangvisioninstitute.com today for more information. Maybe you're struggling with sun damage, age spots, redness. You start to see that kind of come up as we get older. This is a great treatment. Takes 20 to 30 minutes. IPL. You can get out the door just wearing some sunscreen and be good to go. So make sure to visit wangvisioninstitute.com to learn more. You can also RSVP for a free consultation online. Tuesdays at 6:45 is when they hold those. So visit wangvisioninstitute.com. Your skin and eyes will thank you for the long-lasting results.
When it comes to large home repairs, a lot of the time we homeowners pretend we don't see the warning signs. We are afraid of what we're going to hear. This is especially true with waterproofing and foundation repair. It could be something big that needs to be fixed right away, or it may be a small problem now that'll become bigger later, or it may be nothing at all. The bottom line is we don't know, and we certainly don't want to be sold something we don't need. We need a peace of mind, and United Structural Systems is the company to give you that. They have over 25,100% satisfied residential customers, and here's how they made that happen. When USS comes out to your house, you're going to get a problem solver who provides a peace of mind to you, the customer, the homeowner, okay? You're not going to get someone who's worried about meeting a sales quota or upselling the next big thing, but someone there to educate you and help you understand what's happening with your home. At USS, their only measure of success is how satisfied the homeowner is and not a closing ratio. This is a company who cares and a company you can trust. They guarantee the best every single time, and that's because homeowners trust USS. USS serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, and Northern Alabama. You can reach them online at USSTN.com or call them 615-488-7855.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. Might be a bourbon maple caramel latte in my future today. There should be one in yours, too. Maybe the pumpkin pie latte.
Yeah.
Or a pastry.
Homemade s'mores Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
You had me in the first half. I'm not going to lie. As soon as you said it might be a bourbon, I was like, oh, Will's had a tough day today.
No doubt, man. You know what I said to myself time and time again on the break that we just what a nice beat too to talk over. I just kept muttering to myself, 9 and 21. 9 and 21. I just kept saying that to myself.
Yeah, that's like if Shane Beamer had his record this season extrapolated over like 3 years. That's crazy.
I knew Will was going to have something, man.
Oh, Shane.
When do I not have something?
Just dead-eyed any point of time to take a rival down, Bert.
Head, meat, swivel. Honestly, they're not even really a rival. I should spend my time with teams that actually are relevant.
I played into something this weekend, too. I did. I don't even sure if y'all saw my tweet about it. Seeing Shane, by the way, his fan base is not okay. South Carolina Gamecocks. Not okay with his words after these like close wins or bad losses. He just says a lot. He said they were dancing in the locker room after a 10-point win over Jacksonville State. And that ain't even me piling on them. A coach more times than not be like, man, we got to get better. All those types of things.
Well, did you see Nick Saban blew out his eye pretty much? He was yelling so hard at practice this week. He popped a blood vessel. So
that's crazy.
Just Saban being Saban.
I know, but the Shane Beamer thing, to your point about one coach to another, taking it more serious than not, he says things sometimes. I'm just like, I'm with you on the rah-rah. I am. I love the optimism. But there's a dose of reality that has to be thrown into it. And I'll say this, the fact that it looked like he's scrambling for air, I played into the whole signal thing situation. I did.
You did.
And I was just like, how do you go from all of that to where you are and everybody making this with the offensive line? I'm like, I've seen teams have bad O-lines and, struggle here and there, and it don't look like that either. But I digress.
Alabama 42, LSU 28. Alabama now, according to the S&P Plus, Bill Connolly, ESPN.com, has a 98% chance of winning the SEC West. Georgia holds on against Missouri. Didn't look great doing it, but did enough to beat a good Missouri team. A fifth postseason meeting between those two teams in the last 7 years looks very likely. It's so similar the way this played out for LSU compared to the Tennessee game against Alabama. Late, solid drive in the first half. You got a lot of momentum going into halftime, and then a late turnover in a game that was still within reach, down a touchdown, turns into a 2-touchdown lead, and Alabama was not giving that up.
No, they were not.
Jay Daniels was great, though.
He was.
Until that hit that knocked him out of the game, it almost like they were examining him for a broken jaw or something, fractured jaw. That was a filthy hit, and no flag on that play either.
Crazy.
It's crazy to watch these teams, though, just that high scoring, right? And it makes it fun in my eyes, but it is weird because you talk about that defense and the defense played in the SEC, but yet you have those two teams high flying, right?
Oh, yeah.
High scoring. But I enjoy it. I thought that was a fun one to watch.
Great battle, man. I know college our big day, but all around really good quarterback play and some good games, too, that I didn't expect much from going into the weekend. And I'll continually say, Pac-12 panicked way too soon.
Yep.
Panicked.
It's embarrassing.
Yep.
Yeah, Washington gets the win over USC. Oregon handles business as well after starting a little bit slowly against Cal. Good matchups there. Again, guys, if you're not betting on the over in every LSU game and the under in every Iowa game as well, you're just missing out on free money.
Hey, and with the Service Academy, I don't know if y'all watched.
Yes, I did.
I tuned in, and I saw Army was up 10-0. I said, it's the first quarter. You got to be kidding me. This is
I
dead.
thought about that.
I tuned in for like the last maybe 30 minutes of that game, and then I was reminded why the under was going to hit. There were more fumbles in that game. You just got to stick with what works.
You know what's crazy, guys, is looking at Bill Connolly's weekend wrap-up on ESPN.com, which I always highly recommend. Bill, friend of the show, does a great job. Puts out his Heisman top 10. You know who number 1 is?
Heisman top 10?
Yeah.
No. Who's won?
He awards the Heisman every week of the season, doling out weekly points. In this case, 10 points for first place, 9 for second, and basically does like a point style of if you win a certain week, you move up, move down. Not the way the award is actually given, but for this sake of conversation analysis, it is. It's Jalen Milroe, number one.
I did see that.
Jalen Milroe deserves a lot of praise for the way he has turned around his season and Alabama's offensive season. This is what I expected Alabama to be week 1 or 2. And maybe I was naive for believing Jalen Milroe could just pick up where Bryce Young left off, but this is the Alabama team I picked to win the national championship. That's showing up now.
You forget, this is what you said will happen. The years you kind of put him, Saban behind the 8 ball,
Yep.
This is what he does.
He's an incredible coach.
He is.
We're back at it tomorrow morning. We'll have Austin Price. We'll have Ron Slay. Recapping the first night of Tennessee basketball tonight. Zakai Ziegler expected to play, according to Rick Barnes' appearance on The Nation in Knoxville last night. So we can get the latest from Austin Price about a little football and a little basketball. Coming up tomorrow morning on the show. Top 7, bottom 3, Monday Night Football tonight. Everything you need in your football world, we've got it for you right here. You're not that guy as well that Ramon says he's already picked, so should be good. Yes. Special thanks to John Glennon, to Casey Alexander, to Jalil Anibaba. We'll talk to you at 6 a.m. tomorrow, and Ramon Foster talks to you about words of wisdom right now.
You got to remember at all times, okay? I don't care if you just won by 10 points on the college football Saturday. Your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.